There we go. I wanted to do a live stream. How's everyone? It's Friday. And what better day to talk about dating than Friday? How's everyone? Am I coming through clear? Just doing a sound check. YouTube has been doing some strange things lately. Unsubscribing people. My sound is off. Like the video as you come in. How was everyone on Friday? You see, we're going to talk about, let's talk about sex again. YouTube and chill. It's Friday. On Instagram also, we wanted to do a YouTube and chill. Talking about sex, S-E-X. The thing that everyone wants. Maybe the most important thing to human beings, because that's how we all got here. Yes, YouTube and chill. That's I had some help with that one. So YouTube and chill, we get to talk about some of the most intimate things in relationships. Some you'll like, some you won't. But we're going to open this up, pun intended. Open it up and dive in. YouTube and chill. Alexander Dinman 1. Thanks for joining, man. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the YouTube and chill. Just wanted to have a conversation about sex. Yeah, I think there may be all kinds of rules for that stuff. And I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I'm just questioning. Sex on the first date. Some people have a problem with it. Is it a problem? Do we misjudge one another because of that? Is sex on the first date okay? Or do we have so many rules? Man, it looks like I may have locked up here. YouTube is... Okay, try this again. So people have a problem with sex on the first date. Some people don't. I know people who have had sex on the first date, got married, and 20, 30, 40 years later, still together. So is sex on the first date a problem? Or does it carry taboo? Does it carry a bad reputation? Is it a turnoff? Like, what's really happening here? Are we even having adult conversations around sex? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's our approach to sex, or our, let's say, our mindset, our attitude towards sex. Maybe that's killing us. I see you. And
you can use some warning before you do that. Oh,
I was watching you.
I know.
Oh, you did know that. Okay.
Yes, I know you were watching me.
Oh my God. I won't say what I was watching, but I saw you.
I know you saw me. I meant for you to see me.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. So
Yeah.
you know this stuff better than I do.
What?
Yeah, that I was.
What's so funny?
How you doing?
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you. How you doing?
Talking to me, yeah. Oh, here you go with that.
So it's Friday. What's going on down in Florida? Everything groovy down there?
It is overcast. It's been overcast the last 2 days due to tropical storm Eta.
What's the storm's name?
Tropical storm Eta.
Eta. So we must be on the edge of Eta.
Eta, not Eta. Eta.
We must be on the edge.
Huh? Yeah.
We're on the edge because we have cloud. We've been cloudy. So
yeah.
We had a few days of sunshine and 70 degrees, 60 degrees, and now you all ordered a hurricane and we've got rain now. So thank you, Florida.
You're welcome. You know, hopefully our sunshine to come back. Well, I know our sunshine to come back. That's why it's called the Sunshine State. But it's been overcast the last 2 days. Yesterday, we got a lot of rain dumped on us. A lot. So
I'm in the Garden State, and I actually want to talk about playing in the garden today.
Oh, do you now? What garden you talk about playing in? The secret garden?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Barry White.
So, and I see you have garden material all over your dress.
And you know what? This was not even planned, really. Like, listen, you caught me off guard. Said, can you join me on the show today? I just literally got home from my workout session.
Really?
So I went into the closet and pulled something out, and here you are talking about somebody's secret garden you want to play in.
You're talking like a superhero. You went to the closet and came out like that, huh?
Well, I do have superpowers.
Maybe we should be talking about that, huh?
Maybe we'll get into it.
Do you show your superpowers on a first date?
I definitely do not.
Oh, really?
No.
So what do you think of my question?
It depends on people. So it depends on how they feel. I personally, with my clients, it is even written in my contract that there will be no sex on the first date.
Why is that? Why is it so important that you put it in a contract?
So that there's an understanding that I want them to just focus on getting to know each other. Sex is not happening, and they know sex. Both parties know that sex is not happening, so they can move forward with just focusing on building that chemistry, getting to know one another.
What if it does happen? Do you sue them or something?
No, I know. If I have a client who has sex with a date, I will remove him from my firm.
The first, well, what if he marries that person?
Well, once they, if they go on the first date and they decide to connect and build a relationship, then my job is done. But
Right.
let's say I have a client who has sex with a woman, and after that date, he decides he wants to move on to someone else. Well, if I find out that sex happened, I'm going to remove him from my firm, and
Really?
yes, and no longer work with him because he violated the contract. And I have a no refund policy. So it's very, I charge a lot of money. So it makes no sense to lose out on all your money by sleeping with someone by violating the contract.
Mm, she must be worth it. He
Oh,
must have his money's worth.
I'm definitely worth it. That's why I can charge what I charge.
Well,
I'm very good at what I do.
okay. Well, if he has sex on the first date, he may have found the one then.
He may have. And then so either way, he got his money's worth.
That's what I mean, right? He got his money's worth out of that then.
Yeah,
He violated the contract and he won.
correct.
Okay. So are you saying sex on the first date means people don't get to know one another?
Yeah, it's for the stress. I think men focus too hard on trying to get a woman to possibly have sex with them on the first date because that is an expectation. And then women are so focused and stressed out, and anxiety builds up on because she may not want to have sex with him in that moment.
So, okay, I have a question then. And it seems to happen. So if a guy doesn't pursue a woman for sex on a first date, she may not know that he's sexually attracted and put him in the friend zone. So how does a man deal with that?
I mean, he can let a woman know that he's sexually attracted to her. Like, look, I don't, I'm highly attracted to you both physically and sexually, but this is our first date. There's no pressure for sex. I just want to focus on getting to know you, and then we can go from there.
Okay, so I had a conversation very similar to that. I did when Blair and I would started our talk show, and I had women on it, and I said on a first date, if I said this to and there were women on the call, and I said if I said that to you, they said that would turn them off. They said let sex happen naturally. Why I said, hey, look, I find I'm sexually attracted. I don't think either of us is ready to go in that direction. Why don't we just focus on getting to know one another? And they were like, well, why do you have to do that? That would be a turnoff.
See, it depends. Is this a woman that you just met, or is this a woman that you've had conversations with? And I mean, even as a friend, because it's different when it's a woman that you just met. She doesn't know you. She hasn't really gotten to know you. So there's going to be some trepidation there. But typically, women who are talking to their friends or men that they've built some type of rapport with, of course, they're going to feel that way. Why? Because they've already been in subconsciously, they're looking at you as someone that they're sexually attracted to, that they could see themselves having sex with. But we're talking about two people who are new to one another, who probably have never had any connection outside of a few weeks of talking on the phone.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you why that's confusing. And hey, Danielle, how are you? Thanks for joining on Instagram. You're on Instagram too, so the world they hear you.
Thank you for letting me know that.
Okay, so this is. So, I say, this is me saying that sex is the most important thing that humans have. And someone can say no, except help me understand how any of us would be here in computers and buildings if someone didn't have sex. So we're here because of sex.
Yes, and I agree with you. Sex is the most important, and it is the most important factor to mankind, because
Right.
that is how mankind continues on.
Correct.
However, just because it's important doesn't mean that you should have sex with every person you meet.
Well, so you're ahead of me, so I have to catch up. So that means I'm from behind. That's okay though.
Probably your favorite position, isn't it? Like it back there.
Okay, so Danielle said I'd feel respected if that was said to me. I assume she's saying what you and I were saying about, hey, I'm sexually attracted.
Right.
And, it's just let's focus on getting to know one another. Except
right. For a woman who is marriage minded, for a woman who truly desires a relationship and it's a new guy in her life, she's more than likely going to respect the fact that he is being open and upfront, and then he took the pressure off of he took the pressure and anxiety away by saying, look, hey, I am sexually attracted to you, but if it's not going to happen right now, I understand. We don't even have to focus on it. But I just want to let you know that I am sexually attracted to you, but I'm not going to make it an issue at this point. And so, yeah,
right, I'll take your panties off tomorrow, but not today. Okay.
Second or third date is going to be out.
Today you're okay. I'm going to get into your mind. I'll get into your panties tomorrow.
Look, me personally, I feel sex should be held off until there's a commitment.
So here's where I think there's a problem with. Sorry, I just received a text message acknowledging your presence on the screen here. So.
Oh, I hope it was good.
Yeah, I think it was good. Yes.
Okay. Do I need to change my camera angle?
No, you're doing fine.
Make the Letitia Underwood my name higher.
Nah, you're just right where you need to be. Come on now. So
I thought that was gonna go up towards my face more, but all it did was just highlight that.
You highlighted it, right? Yeah. So here's where I think I question whether or not people have a negative, fearful, taboo. Like we have so many taboos around sex that we can't even talk about it. And as you just said, it's how we perpetuate the species. All insects, animals, even plants have sex, right? So, but yet we're afraid to talk about it. Almost like there's something wrong with having a conversation. So you were saying, well, it depends on how long you've known someone. I mean, even if it was the first day I met you and, hey, look, I find you sexually attractive and I'd like to get to know you. I don't even want to pursue that. Like, why do women freak out so much and think
okay. When men ask women out on dates whom they are sexually attracted to, that is how y'all pick. First, it starts with the eyes, right? The beauty. And then it's like, yeah, I want to get to know her because, yeah, I want to have sex with her. I want to have sex with her, right? Women
no, I want to get to know her. It's not because I want to have sex with her.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sex does cross your mind when you decide to ask a woman out. Whereas women, because if you aren't sexually attracted to her, you're not likely to ask her out at all. Okay. Whereas women, we accept dates whether we're sexually attracted in that moment or not.
Okay, so then that raises another question. When does a woman know she wants to have sex with a guy?
When she knows. I mean, it's different for every woman. I know sometimes I don't know right away if I want to have sex with a guy. It takes some intellectual stimulation for me to find a guy sexually attractive. Some men just have that instant sexual attraction right off the bat, so it's different. But we're not inclined to. What I'm saying is, we don't accept dates based off whether we want to have sex with y'all. We accept dates based off of how you look, a little bit of your personality, a little bit of how you look, and how we're feeling in the moment. If we're in the mood to even date someone.
Right. See, someone says sometimes instantly because women have told me they saw a guy, they walked into a room, saw a guy, and instantly
Yeah,
said, he and I are having sex. Like, and she made sure she made herself so available that even in getting to know the guy that day, she had sex with the guy that day. She found out he was married and still did not care. So there are women who will say, I'm having sex with that guy.
that's correct. There are women who will say, who are instantly sexually turned on, and there are women who are not instantly sexually turned on.
So, so is it fair to say that if one woman can be instantly turned on, all women can? It's just a matter of what's a match for instant turn on.
Yeah, it really depends on the man.
No. I'm talking about the woman.
That's what I'm saying.
I said it depends on the match. So the match, whatever it takes to turn that woman on. So I didn't. When the woman told me the story, I didn't ask her what was it about the man that made you think you want to have sex. But I assume everyone has that person, and whatever it is, like whether it's physical, the way they walk, their haircut, their smell, whatever it is. I'm asserting that.
so
Every woman has some guy that will and it doesn't mean she's going to act on it, but as soon as she sees him, like
I've only experienced that one time in my life, and I ended up marrying that guy.
okay, okay.
So it does it. So I guess if you're saying does it happen, can it happen for every woman? Yes, because I've experienced it one time in my life, and I ended up marrying him, and I have not had that experience since. So I can't deny flat out and say it never happens. I can't speak for all women, but I can say I experienced that.
Okay. Hey, Rose. Hey, how are you? And thank you for that, Rose. So I'm not getting compliments like yours, but I'm getting
Oh,
them.
you're getting compliments? I don't see any comments.
They're coming from all over the place. Instagram, text messages.
Oh, I'm not getting any. I don't see any of the comments. So, and here I am thinking like, oh my gosh, I look awful because I had to rush to get ready because I just literally got finished working out, and you only gave me what 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get prepared.
On the last show, you said you like quickies, so
Well, not when it comes to hair and makeup, sir. That's a whole hour. That's a whole hour of getting prepared, getting ready, doing all that. You gave me 15 minutes. But
that,
thank you to everyone who is issuing comments. I really appreciate it, even though I can't see you.
so let's get some likes on this video here.
So let me ask you, Ted,
Yes.
on the first date, yes or no?
Could I have sex on a first date?
Would you have sex on the first date?
Someone says you're gorgeous and you're not. It's nothing's terrible about. So the texts are coming in. They're coming in.
Thank you. Okay, well, go ahead and answer the question.
Would I have sex on a first date?
Yes.
I would. I would.
Have you ever had sex on the first date?
I would never want to force, and I'm not saying force in the sense of rape. I mean force in the sense of begging or attempting to convince the woman that this is the right thing. It would happen.
So how did it happen? Like, how did you know she wanted it? Or how did she let you know she wanted it?
I understand the question.
Oh my gosh. It's a simple question. What signs did she give you that sex was gonna like how did it happen? How did the sex go down? Like what? Y'all started kissing, the next thing you know, clothes started coming off, or was there a conversation? And you're like, yeah, let's go back to my place.
Hey Khaled, what's going on?
Yeah, you're in the hot seat today, but I have questions of my own. You're not doing all the asking today.
Okay. So someone wants to join on Instagram, so we're gonna let him in here. We're talking about sex on the first date. What's going on, Khaled?
Way to dodge that question.
All right, see, we're talking about should you have sex? Is sex on the first date too soon? If it is, when is the right time? And normally, I put people in the hot seat. What now? We have someone here trying to put me in the hot seat and asking me the questions.
What do I say? They call me the man with the hottest turban.
The hottest turban. Got it.
Yeah, for a good reason. I've fought too many people. I really have. Physically and mentally, I've fought.
All right. So I've got a question to answer here. So on the first date, sex happened. So let's say on a. How do I want to say this? Or even ask? So when you say date, what do you mean? Maybe I need to understand.
Okay, see, and we're talking about an actual date. We're not talking about a hookup, a one night stand, because sex is supposed to happen in hookups and one night stands.
Right.
Everyone knows that. If you are hooking up, there's the expectation that sex is happening. One night stand, there's the expectation that sex is happening. But when you're on a date, that men seem to have that expectation, but women want men to understand that it may or may not happen. More times than not, it doesn't happen.
Sex on the first date. So formal date. Hey, let's go back to my place. And we go, and she goes. And so going back to my place, that by itself.
Oh, is that code for
that by itself opens the door, pun intended.
So she accepts and says, "Sure, I'll come back to your place for a nightcap."
All right, that's too much out of the movies, right?
I mean, hey, if it's a cookie, I'll take it. If it's
Gosh. Why is so much? Hey, I'm not going to take calls, so anyone who's calling.
Wow, like why would someone call you during this time? You're on YouTube live. What? So okay, so
take calls. So if you're calling, just it's not going to happen.
So you say, hey, so you open that door and say, hey, let's go back to my place. And so when she comes back to your place, there's an understanding. Now, men, you have to be careful because you do not want to end up in a situation like Mike Tyson, because depending.
Do you know what got Mike Tyson put in jail?
I'm not touching that. You're not taking.
No. Listen. It wasn't sexual intercourse.
You're not taking me down that rabbit hole. That's a whole other discussion.
They had consensual sex. They did.
But she's saying that they didn't. He's saying
no. Tyson took this thing and shoved it up her. That was not consensual.
He took what now? His knuckle.
No, that they had consensual sexual intercourse. Tyson took it to some level that was not consensual.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's not use that example.
No, but I see what you're saying. Because she was saying, and a lot of arguments was, I know, but it was like I just went back to his place. There was no expectation of sex, and then he raped me. So, men, I just want you to be careful, especially in the era of Me Too. That just because a woman comes back to your place, hotel or whatever, you still have to be careful because that's not a sign of consent. Even though it's hopeful, it's still not a sign of consent. But I see what you're saying. So y'all went back to your place and then one thing led to another. All right. So you've had sex on the first date. I have never had sex on the first date. Unless I usually go through like 6-month talking phase with men that I'm interested in being in a relationship with. So we're talking first, getting to know each other.
You're bringing up, that's where I wanted to take this also. That's where I wanted to go. And what's going on, Bass Dutch and Rob Alejandro? See, right, you're a little bit, like I said, you like staying ahead of me. That's okay.
You like stand behind me.
That's okay.
Go ahead and admit it. See, that's why you got that smile on your face. It's your happy place.
But I like the view from the front too. So
Listen, you better stop before I have you. You're gonna have to pull out a ring on this show. I mean,
man,
goodness gracious.
You have a ring already, but keep going.
I'm no rings. I'm single.
Oh, okay, that one. Okay.
Yes.
Eat beats. So we're talking about sex on the first date. Eat beats. That we're talking about sex.
Let's talk about sex.
Oh, wait, someone said some women are just as sneaky and devious as sneaky men when it comes to that.
When it comes to what? We're not. When it comes to.
I'm not 100% sure, but that's what she wrote. So.
Okay. So
we haven't really finished this conversation. Why can't men just have a conversation about sex with a woman? He's never had sex with her. It's a first date. I don't care if he's had one phone conversation or he met her walking down the street. So what you ladies call chemistry, right? So you're starting to see some common ground, some compatibility. And I'll take it to an extreme. You're walking down the street, you see a woman, you invite her to lunch or dinner, and she joins you. You just met her, right? And so you're having a mature conversation. You're both enjoying one another's company, and sex is we all know that sex is in there because, like I asked you before, if you were married to a man and he never had sex with you, or you wouldn't want to be in that situation. So we both know that sex is like on the horizon.
Exactly.
Why is it such a taboo with women and they get turned off if a guy talks about something that is so natural?
Okay, I'm going to start by saying one, it's rude. It's just rude for me. It's just rude. I'm like, I don't need you to talk. If I've accepted a date with you, I found you sexually appealing. So I don't need you to talk about it. I don't need you to bring it up. But for a lot of women, in the context of what you mentioned, we grew up in that men who talk about sex so early are men who only want sex from you. And these are the type of men who are going to use you up and they're not going to give you anything else.
But you see how that's like a closed-minded, and it closes doors. It closes the door to maturity. How does a man be mature and have an adult conversation? And we both know that we have a sexual interest. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting across the table or walking in a park, wherever we are.
Okay,
that wasn't there. Why are you so afraid to have an adult? This is an adult conversation.
Okay, like I said before, women do
preconceived notion that that's all he wants. See, this is the problem. We have to stop teaching little girls that that's all men and boys want, because otherwise, how do we conduct ourselves like adults if we can't talk about the most important part of the relationship, which is sex? How does that work?
I get that and I understand what you're saying. However, men have this presumption that women want sex in the same moment that they want sex. You said it. You said, well, you and I are on a date. I want sex. You want sex. That's not true. Not all women accept dates knowing that they're sexually attracted to someone. I only go on dates with men that I am sexually attracted to. Will I have sex with them? No. But a lot of women will accept dates thinking that that's okay. I can just go on a date, get to know him, and the sexual attraction will either build or won't build. And that's a lot of women. So when a man who is bringing up his sexual attraction to a woman who hasn't even figured out hers, it's very unnerving, and it puts a lot of pressure. Because we do hear a lot of men who say, well, if I take a woman out and spend all this money on her, I expect sex. I deserve sex. So it just makes it uncomfortable because here I am thinking that you asked me out and you like me, and then you bring up sex, and I'm like, I'm not even there yet mentally. So now it's like, was that your motive?
But how do we get beyond that level of immaturity?
It,
Because sexual maturity has a lot to do with personal maturity. And you find that in people. People who are very immature sexually have a very difficult time handling other things in life. Sex is important. So I got it. Sex on a first date could happen. It could not happen. The question is, why cannot mature adults have a conversation about it without all these negative preconceived notions? At what point do we grow up so that we can actually address sex so no one feels like it's forced or imposed? We can talk about it.
some things are just uncomfortable to bring up on a first date. That's like asking a man what his bank account looks like. Men going to get weirded out. I'm dating you. You know I'm dating you for your resources because we all know women are attracted to men for their resources and men are attracted to women for their beauty. So if I'm on a first date with you and I say, well, how much do you make? What do you have in savings? What does your bank account look like? You're immediately going to get turned off. It's the same for women because for us, it's sex is the same thing. Even though it's the most basic and natural thing that we can do with one another, it's still, if I'm not ready to discuss it, and it has nothing to do with maturity or immaturity. I think I'm a very sexually mature person. I have a healthy, mature attitude towards sex. But even I don't want to discuss sex on the first date. There's just some things that on the first date that shouldn't be discussed, that doesn't need to be discussed. We're just trying to fill each other out and get to know each other. You know, most women are like, I don't even know if I like you like that. So why am I going to talk about a subject? What if a guy even says, will you have sex with me? Now she's on the spot. And it's like, wait a minute.
So that wouldn't be a mature. Look, what is your attitude towards sex? How do you feel about sex? Why can't people have these conversations?
Because
Why is our society so prudish that we make it seem like it's a threat and I'm being subjugated and it's a conversation. And I think this is part of the thing with women believing that a man wants to control and subjugate her every move. And this is part of the relationship. So here's a problem. When it comes to sex, we're no longer, and especially the first time, men and women are not in adult relationships when it comes to sex. Because if you want consenting, and women's claim that they want it to be treated as an equal, yet only the woman decides when we're going to have sex the first time. How are you in an adult relationship if I can't sit down and say, hey, I find you sexually attractive. I know this is our first date and the sex is not the intent. I'm here. I really want to get to know you. But here's my problem. If you and I are going to move this anywhere, shouldn't you and I both have some conversation about when sex can happen the first time? Or is that just your call and I'm just a bystander and I've got to be responsive at your whim? Like, how does that work?
Well, I know for a fact that a lot of men aren't going to broach the subject as
No, stop. I just gave you a situation. Don't tell me about because we've created an environment that doesn't allow for maturity. So here I am introducing maturity and you're telling me about what men haven't done. So I need you to respond.
No, I didn't tell you about what men haven't done. What I'm saying is there is a way that you can broach the subject in the way that you have just done. Are men mature enough to engage in a subject the way that you have done it? I think if if men learn how to communicate to women in a way that they're understanding that they're talking to a woman, then yes, I think that the subject can be had.
Okay. All right. So you're saying that there is a way to do this.
Yes.
Okay. See that you get what I'm getting at. So SW, I see you want to join the conversation. I just dropped the link in the
You just
chat.
let anyone join in with us today. This was for the other people. Was that was for the threesome Friday last week.
Well, SW, I don't even I have no idea what SW.
I
Hey,
think SW was the guy.
it could be, but
Oh, so you don't want to do a threesome with another guy though?
no, we're not doing it. This is first date. Yeah, first date with a threesome. Hey,
Hey, listen, if it's a first date and you want to talk about sex, let's be mature about it.
right. I'm into polyamory, so I'm going to take you out with.
Or with another woman. So you only
I'm taking you out with my number one. I might move you to the number one.
okay, so you're gonna do FFM. You don't do MMF.
I don't even know what that is.
FFM is 2 females, 1 male. MMF is 2 males, 1 female.
Hey, okay. All
Okay.
right. Pressure bust pipes is back, man, and make diamonds. He's love
Diamonds
this.
are a girl's best friend.
Diamonds are a girl. I thought I was. Don't tell me
I
that.
don't know you all like that yet, sir.
I'm Ted Santos. Come on. What are you talking about?
I mean, you're up here talking about what you want to do on a first date. I don't even know you like that. You didn't even buy a girl coffee first.
Oh, what if I just carry over a puddle? Does that make a puddle?
No, oh my goodness. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not responding to that.
What's going on, Nelly Nell? Thanks for joining in. We're talking about sex again. This is YouTube and chill. We are chilling. Get the likes up on this. We're YouTubing and chilling, and on Fridays, love to talk about sex. And we are talking about whether sex on a first date is too soon, when is the right time. And we're actually, pun intended, we're opening up this conversation about.
But okay.
Whoa, why can't men and women have a mature conversation about sex whether it's a first date or even before the first date on the phone? Like you were saying, you like to speak to a guy for several months over the phone. So at what point do you speak about sex? Can you speak about it on the first phone call?
No.
What's going on, West Coast?
For me, no, because I just think it's just rude. Like, sex has nothing to do with whether or not I need to get to know you. It's going to be a natural occurrence. So sex is a given if you give it time.
Exactly.
So I don't need
if you give it.
So I don't need to talk about sex on a first date.
Why not?
Because sex is a given.
Who's deciding when it happens?
Well, women, because we're the gatekeepers.
Okay, so why? So if women really want to be respected as mature adults, why can't they have an adult conversation with a man about it?
Because for me, it's just rude. I don't need to talk about sex. I don't need to talk about sex to get to know you. I'm trying to have for me, the first date is really about a light-hearted affair, nothing serious, me just trying to get to know you. That's it. A lot of women, some women don't want to talk about it because they're just simply not sexually attracted to you, so they don't want to be in the hot seat.
Well, and wait, and some women may be just out with you for dinner because she's hungry.
Correct. Well, yeah, that means she's not sexually attracted to you.
Exactly.
She doesn't want to be put in a hot seat.
See, we're opening up, as always, we're opening up some of the complications that happen in dating.
Why don't you just ask straight out? Like, what are some of the complications? Like, you always try to take me round and round instead of just asking directly what you want to know.
So wait, so Nelly Nell said something interesting here. He said, you don't need to talk about it on the first date. I talk about it on the first phone call.
Okay. I mean, I'm curious to know, how does that work for him? I mean, it works. It just depends. Like, I think you have to fill out the person.
You say feel out. What do you?
Know the person. Know the person.
Feel out. How do I do that on a first date? Am I feeling them out? What do you mean feel?
No. Read
that feel out. Okay.
no, you don't want to do a physical feeling. Just read their energy and see where they're coming from. See if a woman, you can tell if a woman really is into you. If she's touching you and she's laughing at what you're saying, then the energy is saying that I am open. I do find you sexually appealing, right? She's getting close to you. She's letting you touch her. Then yeah, those are signs that she's there's some sexual energy there. Not saying that you're gonna have sex on the first date. You know, even when you're talking on the phone and it's not a stilted conversation and it's flowing, but I do think that men need to understand that they are talking to women, and they're, as the saying goes, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. There's a reason why that is so popular, because we are on different planets when it comes to how we view things and what we're thinking. Men only will talk to a woman that they're sexually interested in. Y'all
Right.
don't
A woman will talk to you if she's looking for a free meal.
exactly, or she just wants a
Oh,
friend.
wait. Oh, see here, someone said, Nellie Nell said, I don't want to waste my time finding out that later that she's celibate.
Okay, yes. I mean, and I understand that. I do understand that. That's, you know, there are questions there. Like I said, there's a way you can ask, but you have to understand women do not have this. We have this presupposition that men want sex. We understand that. But men have to understand too that just because you want sex, because y'all only talk to women that you want to have sex with. Just because a woman is talking to you does not mean she wants to have sex with you. So if you start that conversation, it might turn her off to where it's like, yeah, you could have at some point, but now she's completely turned off because you broke the brother.
This is the point I'm making. When are women going to grow up so that we can just have conversations as adults? Gary Wheeler said sex before the first date is mandatory. He said before.
Sorry. You know me, you know, right now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm missing the biggest news of 2020 right now.
No, the biggest news is right in front of you. Look in front of you. I'm Ted Santos.
Oh, you're big news, huh?
Yeah, you want big news?
Tell me something. Okay, no, I just saw a news article about the state of Georgia and the electoral votes and how they were decided. I'm like, all right. So all right, big news.
Wait, SW, you must, that's a guy. He said, I'm the one who has to fight them off. So
and that is fine. There are some women.
SW, I dropped the link in the chat. I thought you wanted to join in. So
he said he only wants to be on audio. You don't have to click the button for video.
Right. You can I can keep you on. You can keep it on audio. You don't have to be seen. Since if you're fighting them off, I mean, come on.
Okay. So women will filibuster the question of sex. Why? Because we're uncomfortable. It's just like the conversation that if a woman brings up how much you make on the first date.
Okay, wait, stop right there because we didn't fully address that. So I don't mind a woman asking me about how much my bank account, because I'm going to ask, are we doing a transaction? Is this money for sex? Because I don't mind. I would say, look, for me, sex is a mutual exchange. This is between us. My bank account is irrelevant if that's what you want. Now, if you will have sex with me because I have the right amount of money and you want access to that, then let's talk about that also.
See how you disregarded a woman's thoughts. Men look at sex as a natural progression for a relationship.
So
women. Oh no, women do not. Women look.
Tell a woman you don't want to have sex with her on the first. Tell a woman on the first date, I never want to have sex with you, and see how many times she goes out with you.
That has nothing to do with whether or not she wants.
Tell a woman on the first date, you and I will never have sex. I don't want to have sex with you.
Are you?
See how many times she will go out.
To listen to me? That has nothing to do with sex, really, for women. That has everything to do with insecurity. Because we are taught that men want sex. So if you tell a woman you don't want to have sex with her, then she's automatically thinking you're not attracted to her, and you're going to cheat or have sex with other women.
No, it's not that you're gonna cheat. I'm just bringing you out. I like you. You're cool, but we're never having sex.
It doesn't matter what you say. We have been programmed in our minds that if a man falls,
Hey, time out right there. Here's where this is what I'm addressing. Okay, just because you were programmed to do something doesn't mean it's in your best interest.
you're correct. What I'm getting at is you just invalidated what I said. When I said it's the same way you said, why do women feel uncomfortable talking about this? You invalidated what I said. It's the same feeling that men get when a woman starts talking about his bank account resources.
I'm fine with that.
Let me finish. And then you correlate that with, well, if you want to talk about my money, that's fine. If you're
No, I didn't. I asked the question.
Let me
I
finish.
said, is this transactional? Are you looking for money for sex?
Are you going to let me finish my statement?
Not if you misquote me.
I'm not misquoting you. You're just not letting me finish.
I didn't say what you said.
It seems as if that, okay, fine. If you're looking at this like it's a transaction, if a woman is,
I wanted to know, is that what you want?
okay, but
I
women,
want to know what she want. How does money and sex come together? Because I don't understand it.
because if I'm dating you, I need to know that you're a provider male. I need to know that you're not going to be dependent on me, that you are going to be the one who's in the lead and taking care of the family. Men need money to do that. You can't just do that on your looks,
I understand. Okay.
or
That-
your desire to have sex. So
So
if
then I would understand. Great. I would understand.
okay, so if we're on a date and if I can openly discuss your money, we can openly discuss your financial resources. Then if women have that expectation, then yeah, sure, let's have an open conversation all around. So if you guys want to openly talk about sex, all right, fine, let's talk about money, because you guys want sex from us, we want money from you. And I'm not talking about transactionally in a prostitutional way. I'm talking about people who are interested in being in a relationship or marriage. Men are attracted to women for their beauty. Women are attracted to men for their resources. That's just how it goes.
Okay. So when I said talk about sex up front, it's to acknowledge I am sexually attracted. It should you and I talk about when sex is going to be right for both. When is it going to be right for both of us?
Why do you care so much about whether or not sex is going to happen on the first date?
No. See, you didn't listen to what I just said.
I did.
When is sex right for both of us? This has nothing to do with a first date. This could be on a first date or first phone call. Will you and I decide this together, or will you be the only one deciding this?
Well, men are, again, men only ask women out whom they are sexually attracted to. And you know that right away.
No, you're missing what I'm asking.
No, I'm not. Let me finish.
Okay.
Women, for the most part, are not sure when they accept that date. So it's gonna be a woman's decision because if she's not there at that point, she's got to get there. And when she is ready is when you'll have sex.
So you're saying
but the woman,
hey, and Sudata Roy, thanks. You're saying something else. I'm not sure if you realize you're saying this. You're saying usually women are behind men. So men have to speed her up men have to help a woman get up to speed so that he can get her on the same page. Otherwise, he's pulling like dead weight for someone who can't make a decision. She doesn't know what she wants.
No. You don't have to do anything but just be himself. You don't have to force it. You don't have to pull her up there to where you at. No. If she is into you, you haven't done anything to turn her off, sex is going to happen. It's just a matter of her deciding when she's ready. Because if you take a woman on a date and you're sexually attracted to her, it can happen that first night you're ready, right?
Why can't we have that conversation right there that you just said?
You can. It's uncomfortable.
Off.
It is. I didn't
So
say
when
you
is
can.
she going to, when are women going to grow up and stop living by what they were programmed to do
Okay,
and
now you're
start
gathering.
having? No, listen. It just because you're programmed doesn't mean it's going to work in a relationship. See, how you start things off is how it's going to be. And if you start a relationship off with completely open and honest conversations, it's more likely to have that throughout. And because sex is the most intimate thing two people can do, if you can have an intimate and open conversation about sex, in all likelihood, that's going to transcend throughout the entire relationship, including money. So, hey, look, I understand one of the things that you look for in a man is his ability to provide good financial survival skills, right? That means he makes money. I don't know what that looks like for you, but I understand that. You know, am I a good hunter? You do you want to have children? Great. You want to have 2 children? Great. So that means it's best that you can take care of the children while I'm out bringing home the bread. But what's mutual, something that's for both of our enjoyment and for procreation, is that we mutually engage in sex. Normally, the woman sits back and decides when it's going to happen. Do I have to
Yep.
wait on you? Or are you and I going to be mature adults and decide when we're both ready to have sex? I'm sexually attracted. I'm not there yet. I don't think you are. Except is there a reason you and I can't make some decision? Should we be comfortable in 2 weeks? Is it in 4 weeks? Is it in a day, a second date? Can we have these conversations? See, but here's where I think the problem, and no one wants to say it. This is the dead elephant. Talking about sex takes away the rush of a woman being chased and the man saying all the things to make her feel good to want to have sex. So if we put it on the table and just talk about it, it takes away that dopamine rush of a woman feeling good because the man is doing everything to have sex with her. But if we take it as 2 adults, what that means is it means you have to be a good lover. So if you depend on a dopamine rush to feel good, you may not be a good lover. But if you're a good lover, you can have this conversation. And when it happens is because we both agreed as 2 mature consenting adults.
That only applies to females who are only looking to date for dinner or to get something else. They're not even
No,
really
no, no,
looking
no.
to
I'm talking about,
have
no, I said, hey, we can talk about money. Am I a good hunter? Yes. But we can talk about
again.
anything and everything.
If you are having that conversation with a woman who is truly interested in you and you can dialogue, truly open to where, okay, you talk about, let's talk about sex, let's talk about marriage, let's talk about kids, let's talk about finances all on the first date. I think women will be more receptive to that. But because
talk
it's
about
like
anything.
But you're under the assumption that all men are open to that. Men are not that open as well.
Okay.
You know,
Look,
there are walls up on first between both sexes.
Why do you think I'm having this conversation? Someone has to knock down those walls of closed-mindedness. And since no one else wants to do it, I'm going to do it. And I invited you to bring you and your twins to this conversation so that we could openly have it in a yes, yeah, they are here present, yes, and they help make the conversation a little more pleasurable.
And I can't hide them either. Okay, that's better.
I can't hear you. Move closer to the camera. I can't hear you.
That's better. Oh, shoot,
Right.
that hurts my back. I'm not doing that.
You know, well, no, some women like their back to be hurt.
Nah, okay. Not from I mean But let's get back to the topic. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you just want to be able to open up everybody's mind, and here I am. You want everybody's mind to be open, and here I am telling you why people have their minds
You're
closed.
defending the past. You're defending a paradigm doesn't work, and I can prove it doesn't work.
I'm not defending it. I'm explaining it. I'm not defending it. I'm explaining it.
Listen, I've been living. I understand that paradigm. You're speaking to me as though I don't understand that.
No,
Like,
you're asking me questions, and if you're asking me in question form, I'm going to give you an answer. Now, if we're just dialoguing, if we're having discourse, that's one thing. But if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. That's just how my Capricorn mind works. And now I'm realizing, no, you actually want to have discourse here. You don't really, all your questions are practically rhetorical and they don't need an explanation or an answer. And that's where
they need the questions need engagement. So I got it. This is what we were taught. And there's proof that doesn't work. So at what point do women become mature enough to be able to have a conversation with sex without thinking, oh my God, this is all he wants? And so if you're showing me you're not open-minded enough to even talk about sex, maybe that's all you have to offer.
That could be true, but I think that it has to be open. It has to be in order for a woman to be vulnerable. So what you're speaking of is vulnerability on the first date, and that's twofold. That's on both sides.
Well, and look, if I'm going to be the man and lead and bring it up, I just made myself vulnerable. I just put my head out there, right? So please back off with that. Okay, and as you already know, just for a man to approach a woman, he puts his neck on the line. So women are like, be vulnerable. Well, hell, be receptive to a man when he is, and don't expect a man to be vulnerable the way a woman is. Part of our vulnerability. So there's a social.
Wait. So there's a double standard you just came up with, because you want me to be vulnerable in a way. You want me
to be vulnerable like a woman. Let me be vulnerable like a man. You have no say over that. Okay. If I'm going to lead this conversation, that's a social risk. I'm doing something that is not commonly done. So I'm showing leadership skills by being able to address something as an adult. Now match my maturity.
Okay, and you're asking me to address this or have this conversation unlike what women are normally taught to do. Hold on, let me finish, because I know you're about to start. Let me finish.
About to take my jacket off and get rough with it.
You know what? If you're gonna take your jacket off, you might as well take it all off. I don't want to hear nothing unless you take it all off. But women, hoes talk openly about sex.
Women what?
Hoes talk openly about
hoes.
Yes, hoes talk openly about sex. The girls who have no problem busting it all wide open for any man, and she get down like that. She's comfortable talking about sex. A woman who is raised to be feminine and be a lady, we're not. Yeah, that is a no-go, because we're taught only hoes are open like that. Ladies are reserved. So if you are expecting if you want a woman to be a lady and you're expecting her to be feminine, those are things that are par for the course, because that's just how we were taught and raised to believe that that's how ladies operate. And to say, well, you need to reject your feminine values and principles because I want to have a conversation. Then it's like, okay, then what else are you going? Now you're trying to tear down what makes me what I think is a woman, which is my opinion.
Strip it down to nothing. But here's the deal: a woman who's trained to be a lady will have class no matter what the conversation is. She never loses that. And so that she's going to be mature, she's going to be classy, she's going to have a conversation, and she's going to face the limits, right? So if, someone taking you beyond what you've normally been. Either you're going to step up to the maturity, or you're going to sit down and make a space available to someone who is mature enough.
I think when you have two people who understand, two people are marriage minded, these conversations definitely should be had and can be had at any point in a discussion. You run the risk of having this conversation too soon with the wrong person, and that's where women are kind of
exactly. You find out that, is this woman mature enough to be in a conversation with me?
And then, I didn't say that a lady is not going to be classy by talking about sex. I didn't say that. I said the fact that just bringing it up, you're assuming that everyone can have the conversation like you and I are having. That's not true. And
the question is, why not? Why not?
Okay, I'm talking about the tone, the respectfulness, the maturity between the two of us. You have people who have not matured, who think that they can have such conversations, and then it just turns the person off. So
why?
Because a tone has a lot to do with it. I mean, you guys are forgetting we're women, and it's like you want us to put our womanhood aside and put and operate a brain like men. So it's weird because then you have to accept that women, it's not about maturity. It's about the fact that we do not think like you.
Okay.
Did I choke you up for a second?
No, listen.
Too much for you.
If sex is going to be part of the relationship, why wouldn't we talk about it?
Because we don't talk about, do you talk about everything that's going to be part of a relationship on the first date? No.
Why not?
People don't. They just don't. They don't feel comfortable doing so. Whether it's man or woman. Ask men why they don't feel comfortable talking about marriage on the first date, or children on the first date, or money on the first date.
You know what? And there are people who have done that.
Okay, I'm not, those are exceptions. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the people who can't have these. I'm pretty sure you and I can have these discussions. If you and I go on a date, we can lay all this out on the table, right? We're two mature adults. But I would like to know from your audience, how many men will be open to talking about a woman discussing marriage, children, and money on the first date?
See, someone said most women are very open about sexual conversations.
No, they're not. They are not. The holes in the thoughts that y'all are used to, those
no.
About talking about sex. If that was the case, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If a woman is sexually attracted to you, she's going to be open to talking about sex. If that's what she wants in that moment, she's going to be open to talking about sex.
Even if she's not ready for sex now, she will still have a conversation with you about sex.
If she has deemed that she's sexually attracted to you, yes, she'll be open to talking about sex. I'm not speaking for all and every woman. I'm speaking on the fact that you have to be careful, because there are some, you asked a question and I'm answering it. You said, why don't
someone says that I come off as highly immature in my communication style. Ted comes off immature in his communication style, repetitively proclaiming oneself to be mature because you are boldly willing to discuss sex does not make him mature.
Okay, people, again, just because I am talking about a certain segment of women, just because you deal with women who talk about sex openly doesn't mean that all women, and I guarantee, and I would like, and I noticed no one answered the question that I asked. Did any of your audience answer the question? Any of the guys answer the question that I asked? Would any of them are open to talking about marriage, babies, and money on the first date?
Listen, sex is mutual. And if it doesn't,
It's not. It's
Why,
not.
why is sex not mutual?
90% of women are not having orgasms or not having consistent orgasms.
Okay.
So how is
Do you know why so many women are not?
that's neither here nor there.
Wait, no, listen. This is not a global phenomenon. This is a problem in the U.S. Do
Okay.
you know why women in the U.S. are having such a difficult
I
time?
don't care. I don't. That's not the problem.
That is the problem.
Okay, no,
That
but
has
the
nothing
fact
to do
is,
with the man.
but you're saying sex is mutual, and I'm saying it's not. And then you
Okay,
ask me why,
so
and I give you the answer why.
Great. So if sex is, then if it's not mutual, what is it?
It's not.
No, if it's not mutual, what is it?
It really only benefits 10% of the female population in the U.S.
Okay,
and
for the 90%.
98% of men.
What if it's not mutual? What is it?
It's beneficial to 10% of women.
Okay, so for 90% of the women,
men.
for 90% of the women, if it's not mutual, what is it?
What do you mean? What is it? Are you saying? Are you
If
saying
it's not mutual? I'm saying it's mutual. You're saying it's not. What is it?
So are you asking in the way that it's? Are you asking that then why do they engage? Because women,
No. If it's not mutual, what is it?
it's nothing. It's
So
just
then why do those women have sex then?
they do have sex, but that doesn't mean they're
If it's not a mutual act of intimacy between two people, what is it?
It's not. Then it's one sided is what it is.
Okay, so it's why are women engaging in one-sided sex?
Because they're under the belief that men, that's what men want, and in order to get the man, that they have to have sex with him. Or sex can be enjoyable, but it's not, she's not getting that finish. So for her, she could take it or leave it because she's not having any orgasms, or
she's enjoying it and it's not mutual. Is that I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
She can enjoy the intimacy that it's bringing. She can enjoy the connection between finish. She's enjoying the connection between her and that man, because women bond through sex. Even whether they orgasm or not, women bond through sex.
And that doesn't make it mutual?
No, it does not make it mutual.
Okay, what does it make it then?
It still makes it one-sided. Why do men want to have sex? Because y'all like the way it feels. Y'all love having the orgasms, right? That's the only reason why I like having sex. If I wasn't having orgasms.
Wait a second. And Eastwood, come back, Eastwood. And Denny, if it's not mutual, what is it? Someone tell me what it is. Because if it's not mutual, what is it?
One-sided. It's one-sided. Why do you keep trying to ask what is it? You know what it is. You're
that make it a transaction.
No, it doesn't make. Okay, okay, fine. I like this guy. I know sex is gonna, even though I'm not getting a benefit out of sex, I know he's going to have sex with me. But okay, I'll have sex with him because I want to be with him. So yeah, if that's the transaction, if that's the transaction you're talking about, then yeah.
Okay. So sex can be transactional. She's only having sex to keep the guy around her.
Yeah, if you want to look at it as transactional, yes.
So what is, if it's not mutual, do you think men benefit from sex?
Yes.
In what way do men benefit from sex?
They still have sex with women who are not having orgasms.
No. I'm asking, in what way do men benefit from sex?
Y'all finish. You have that ultimate finish.
Okay. And in our last show, someone said clearly that just because a man climaxes doesn't mean he's fulfilled or satisfied.
Are you going to keep having sex with a woman that you're not fulfilled or satisfied with? Are you going to keep having sex with this woman?
Yep.
Nah. Nope.
Oh yeah, you better believe. I bet you most men are not fulfilled sexually.
I want to see the studies on that. I would like to see the studies on that.
Do you want me to give you the proof? That the study is in this.
Because
No. How many men cheat? That's how you know.
Okay, but you will find a woman who will bring about sexual gratification.
That's why he cheats.
A woman is not guaranteed to get that. If she is dealing with some things to where she just can't orgasm, it doesn't matter the man. She's not going to have an orgasm.
Right, and that's all.
It's not the same.
According to female gynecologists, the reason that happens is because women have too much head trash and they kill off their own ability to enjoy sex. That has nothing to do with the man. So
I didn't say it did.
Not enjoy sex, right? That maybe that needs to be addressed up front, and a man can decide: do I want to move forward with a woman who does not know how to enjoy sex? She doesn't know her body. Sex is way too important to be with someone who, why should I invest any more time or money and my most valuable resource is time with a woman who doesn't even understand sex?
Well, now y'all know how we feel about money and marriage. But only one person still answered my question. Only one person answered that question. I'm still stuck on that. That y'all want us to be open and vulnerable to talk about sex on the first date. But y'all don't want to talk about y'all bank account. You want to talk about marriage or kids. So she want to talk about, I want to get married. I want to marry you. I want to have 4 kids. And how much money do you have? You immediately going to think she's a gold digger. Why do you think that? Because y'all are programmed to think that. Well, guess what? Women, on the other hand, think men are programmed to only want sex. So if both sides can't be vulnerable, then let's just be honest. Those conversations can't happen unless both sides are vulnerable.
If no one introduces another way to do this, it will never happen.
Well, I guess that's why we're having this conversation, yet no one's answered the question.
No, I'm having a conversation with you. Samuel Eastwood, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining in. What are your thoughts on this? Can you hear me? Hey, you have me on mute. No, I can hear you.
We can hear him, but
Samuel, can you hear me? Samuel, are you taking your mic apart, taking your phone apart?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I had to take the Bluetooth off, man.
It sounded like you were taking something apart, man. I didn't know,
No, I was busy going back and forth trying to get this audio together. I don't normally do this type of stuff. Now, you know who I am now from the group Eastwood?
I absolutely know who you are. How you feeling? Oh, okay. I'm acknowledging you. What's going on? How you feeling, man?
Well, I couldn't hear much because the audio kept going in and out. How's my voice sound? Need to cool it down? I've been working, so I'm kind of breathing heavy. I've been between stuff. I had to catch this audio right here. Now, let me get to my point, though. Basically, from what I'm understanding, I haven't heard the whole conversation, but it seems that every woman claims to be the exception to the rule, and they saying this and that. Basically, when I get with a woman, I'm not talking about sex awfully quickly. She will lose conversation because I couldn't have her. She would not be in my face to begin with. No one has time for the games and the small talk. The small talk turns them off. They can say what they want to say. I speak from experience. All this, you can get straight to sex. 2 adults know what the hell they want. They ain't got to beat around the bush. It's no shame in it. They ain't saying you got to do it, but you shouldn't try to avoid the conversation at the same time. You're afraid to have the conversation, then someone ain't on point. Someone playing games. If I'm trying to get to know you, first of all, I should be able to say what I want to say. If I feel I got to hold something back, then that's just not an adult. Because if I'm not myself, then why should I be with you if I can't be free to be who I am and speak to you how I speak? How you take it is how you take it. But from my observation, when I go out with women, they the one who are way more sexually active than men. They the one always trying to get on me. I'm the one pushing them off because I want to take it a little bit slower than what they want to do. But if I was the nice guy, then I'd be taking them out 2-3 times and all this other BS when they go home and have sex with somebody else that I didn't show them a good time, spending my money. So what I'm trying to understand is, basically, like you said, why play the games?
Okay,
I ain't saying I ain't saying we have to have sex, but I need to know that if I wanted to, the feeling would be mutual.
So let me ask you a question. You have to mute YouTube in the background.
I'm sorry?
You have to mute YouTube in the background because I can hear an echo.
Oh, because I'm speaking on my phone. Like I said, I'm out right now, so I'm not on the computer basically, I got you on the screen of my phone, and I'm listening to talk to the phone at the same time. So if that's possible, let me know how.
Yes.
All right, so turn your computer down then.
Turn my phone volume down.
No, mute the program that's playing. Pause it.
No, I'm just got this on the program I run. It's my phone. I turn my Bluetooth off and everything. I'm holding the phone in my hand. I don't have anything else going.
Right.
I'm outside right now.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you something. You're on the first date with a young lady, and she brings up marriage to you, and she brings up children to you, and she asks you, how much money do you have? Will you be open to have that conversation?
If it happens, but it's never happened. Most time I go out with a woman, it's already understood before we go out. I mean, once again, if I couldn't have her, she wasn't attracted to me, it's like we wouldn't be together in the first place. So I've never had a woman bring up marriage and all this stuff in the very beginning. Usually they get antsy if I don't just start making the move, they'll make a move for me. Now, as far as regular conversation, when I try to have a conversation that's intellectual and adult, they start yawning and looking at their clock, looking at their watch. It's time to get somewhere. They don't want to have that conversation.
Okay, but what I'm asking you is, I'm asking you directly. So are you saying, yes, you don't have a problem with a woman telling you that she wants to marry you and have your baby, and that she needs to see your bank account?
And we just started talking?
Y'all on your first date.
No, there's no reason to bring that up. I mean, it's time to go. Conversation over. She's talking about marriage and having children and seeing my bank account. We ain't on the same tip. That's the stuff that comes up later on.
Then why does sex have to be why does sex need to be discussed on the first date?
It doesn't need to be. It's just nature. It's how it is.
No, that's
I mean, you can beat around the bush and act like, well, you know, let's do this and that. Then second or third time, maybe we'll get around to it. That's the waste of time. I can get my answer off at the beginning.
Okay, the question is that Ted and I are discussing is, should sex be discussed on the first date?
No, I'm asking, should sex happen on the
first date?
Right.
And then we got into the discussion of, should this conversation happen on the first date?
The conversation about sex or the conversation about marriage?
The conversation about having sex. Should men, Ted is of the mind.
Yes, because if it's not brought up, I think, because one thing I know, women like to go-getters. They don't like men who beat around the bush and who are afraid to say what's on their mind.
Right.
Because the woman ain't leaving the house. When the woman leaves the house, she tries on 8 pair of panties, 8 pair of heels, look at her butt for half an hour. Sex is on her mind way before she leaves the house.
So why?
I know this.
So why is sex okay? Why is it okay to discuss sex on the first date, but it's not okay to discuss marriage, babies, and money on the first date?
Now, who's talking about? That's like a business meeting. I'm talking about like investing in stock or something, but this ain't talking about no marriage. You go to a marriage on the first date talking about marriage and children and how much money he make. Unless he's a simp, then he's gone.
Do you understand?
That's just my opinion.
Okay, so the women that I'm talking about, the women that I'm discussing, are marriage-minded women. Women who want marriage. Those are the only women I'm talking about. Any women
so I think I got your point now. So you say if a woman sit down and we talking, whether it be restaurant, living room, patio, and she starts talking about marriage and all of that, no. Because basically, I know you're not a virgin and you're not married, you know, whatever the case may be, I'm not going to have the discussion with you because I already see you trying to put me in a certain category that I'm not going to let myself be put in. I think you're playing me. You ask me how much money I make and all this other stuff. I'm not asking you none of that stuff. I'm getting straight to the point of what the reason that we came together for to begin with. Now, all the other stuff come later on.
Wait, what makes you think that y'all came together for sex?
Because I know that when a woman comes to me, because every woman I get with chooses me. She steps to me. That shows me she got heart. But she starts talking about marriage and children and all this stuff. Now, she got the wrong dude. I mean, you're free to do that. But that's not a conversation I'm finna have with you. So
you're not interested in marriage then?
Not off the rip. Marriage takes time.
So you're not, okay, so the conversation, the people that I'm talking about.
Now, I understand his conversation is about why should it not be discussed in the first date. Now, that I can relate to, or should it be discussed? But the marriage and all of that, I mean, she's free to bring it up. Somebody may go for it.
But if you're free, if you want to talk about sex, right? Since it's an open conversation, a discussion between two mature adults, it should be an open conversation to be discussed, whatever on each other's side.
No, personally, what I think you're doing is basically trying to deflect or run game. Because I'm just speaking for me personally. Sex and talk, all the other stuff is cool. You know, it's just filling each other out. But you talking about someone bringing up marriage and children and money?
Because that's what they want. Men talk about sex.
Women, no, I ain't. No, how many women have? I think I've dated more women than you have. Women ain't when they get with a man, they not talking about marriage, children, and all that stuff. Let you think he'll sucker.
Why we're not talking about that is because we're told that pushes a man away. That we're told.
Women know if a man start coming, okay, let's reverse the roles. A man come to a woman on the first day, he start talking about marriage and children, how much money she make. You think she gonna stick around to finish that conversation?
She's probably not. But see, I can be honest and say there are some discussions that women are not comfortable with having on the first date.
No, but we speaking in general. But okay. I'm just saying from.
You guys are having this hard time understanding that you want to talk about something, and it should be talked about. And I'm saying that, and I've been saying from the very beginning, that some conversations make women uncomfortable. Well, Ted is of the mind, mature people should be able to openly discuss whatever wants to be discussed on the first date. So then I said, well, marriage, babies, and money, because that's what women want.
Women don't want marriage. If women wanted marriage, they wouldn't be leading everything in the divorce race.
Okay, that has nothing to do with one.
That's a whole different subject. I got it, but that's my counter because I don't believe women want marriage. I think they want a sucker who will give them the extravaganza, but I don't think they want marriage. Because they don't know what marriage is.
You're discussing the reasons for wanting marriage. That doesn't negate that a woman wants to get married. I'm talking about her desire to get married. So if
that comes at a later time. Now she's free to bring it up from the very beginning, but that's our last conversation.
Right, and you're going to run. Why? Because that conversation is uncomfortable.
No, I'm not running. I'm gonna let her know that that's our last conversation. There's just no point of wasting each other's time. And she's talking about marriage, and I just met you. And you talking about children, how much money I'm making. I just met you. I'm not gonna waste your time. You ain't gonna waste my time. I'm not running. I'm just getting straight to the point because I know how women are. Women ain't. You can say what sounds good, no disrespect, but I done been with too many women, and that's not their mindset. They can say that. I've had women come up and say all kinds of stuff because I know what it takes to get them to do what I want them to do in a matter of seconds. And I'm not fronting. I'm just being real with you. Now, if I eat that stuff that they're trying to feed me, I'm just a sucker. This is my opinion. Okay, but anyone who comes to a man bringing that stuff up, she's not to be taken serious. There's something wrong with her, in my opinion.
Well, you actually proved my point, so I rest my case, Your Honor.
Well, wait. So here's another way to look at that, right? So if a woman brings up marriage on her first date, if I ask her, would you marry me tonight? What do you think she's going to say, Letitia?
That's not the point.
No. I'm asking.
No. You're changing the narrative, and that's not the point.
This actually is the point.
It's not.
If I ask her, would you marry me tonight? Most likely, I'm going to assume she's going to say no. But if I ask that woman if she would have sex with me tonight or ask some other way, she could say maybe. So she would have sex with me way before marriage.
That's neither here nor there. You're talking about two adults being able to have open discussions and be able to communicate whatever it is that they're talking about on their date.
Okay, so from what you're saying, I'm sorry.
You finish. I said men have walls up just like women do. Men are not comfortable talking about the things that women would actually be interested in talking about, which is marriage, children, and money.
I do not agree.
You just said you wouldn't be comfortable talking about that. That would be the last discussion.
What I'm saying, the reason I do not agree with that is because if a man came to a woman on their first date, he started talking about marriage and having children and all that, even if she's open for it, it's just weird. You don't just come off talking like that from the very beginning.
That's exactly what I'm trying to prove a point.
But that has nothing to do with sex, though. Sex is a whole different conversation.
No, it's not. Women
okay, I don't look at the women that I don't know, and I have women come up to me. I get straight to the point. It's cool. An hour later. And if I start talking about marriage, okay, I'm sorry. I keep over talking. Let me hold myself back.
As long as you've had sex, unless you had sex with every single woman in the world, you will not know that.
See, now you that's a female tactic right there.
No.
It's like he's saying all.
What you did was gaslighting and talking about.
No, what I did is tell the truth. A woman, she's sexually attracted first, unless she's trying to gold dig.
You're only giving antidotes pertaining to the women that you deal with. And you're
And that's the
denying.
ones that I deal with. So no, it's all kind of women, in particular the ones that I deal with, because I dealt with a lot of many different races and ethnic groups and all kind of job and careers and everything. It's no different. It just depends on it. Put it like this here. She may be marriage minded with me or with the next dude, but then she get with me, she's sexually minded.
Okay.
I'm just telling it real. It depends on how she done scoped her mark out and what she thinks she can get away with.
Okay. Let's get back on this subject, because the point that I'm making is women are, for the most part, a lot of women are uncomfortable talking about sex.
Why?
No. I don't agree with that. I had women who get upset if I don't start talking about sex.
And they'll put you in a friend zone. They'll actually put you in a friend zone.
Oh, hell yeah, man. If the woman, if you don't make a move on her, let her know you want her, you pretty much might well call you a friend. You ain't her man, you her friend.
Exactly. You're a friend.
Okay. If you sit up here and try to talk to me about sex on the first date, you're going to be in the friend zone. So no.
Because I'm like this here. See, right now you know the pretense of the conversation, because this is a chat or whatever you want to call it. If we saw each other face to face, you would not be. I'm trying to tell you. See, right now you kind of know it's different because it's not real. We just having a phone conversation. If we were somewhere in public, you would not. It would not go down like this, because if I wanted to, I know what to do.
Why? Because you're
because you already know. It's like you then got the pretense warning of the conversation before the conversation even got started. Well, I'm saying we was in a building somewhere, or a party somewhere. You didn't know me. I didn't know you. Never spoken. If I wanted to get you, I know what it would take to get you. You can sit here and say you're the exception and all this other stuff, but because a woman cannot be the woman's nature. That's one thing you cannot defeat. And women think about sex way more than men. You don't see a Victoria's Secret for men, only for women.
If you think that I would have sex with you on a first date.
Yeah, I know you're the exception to the rule. You're the exception to the rule.
I'm the exception to the rule. You think this is what I'm saying? You're based on the women that you dealt with, but you haven't dealt with every single woman in the world. So because you dealt with, it probably get down very quickly and easily. You're assuming all women are women.
There you go. I didn't say all. What I said was that as adults, we have to be honest with each other. When women go out, like I say, women are way more sexually active than men. They think more sexually than men. Sex is on their mind, in my opinion, more than men. So to sit here and act like, I don't think we're being realistic now.
No, you guys are not honest with the fact that.
Okay, so women go out and they got their titties showing and they stuff put up in their butt. Were they thinking about marriage?
They're thinking about attracting the person that
exactly. They thinking about trying to find. They putting that bait out there. They're trying to catch a fish.
But that's sexual attraction.
Sex. She's using sexual attraction.
They trying to catch a fish. Let's be real. We're gonna be honest. Let's be honest.
Okay, no one's denying it. She's using her sexual attraction. She's using the fact that she knows that men are going to want to sleep with her to attract a man. But that's not the argument. The argument is that if men aren't going to be vulnerable and discuss and be open to discussion on the first date, then women shouldn't have that expectation. And I'm just going to leave it at that. If y'all don't want to talk about marriage, babies, and money on the first date, don't expect women to be open and talk about sex.
It depends on, once again, she can bring up marriage, but it depends on how she done kind of scoped them out. She ain't gonna bring up marriage to just any dude. If she feels she can bring it up to this particular dude, because in my opinion, she thinks he's a sucker. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. That's just my point of view. She may bring it up to some dudes, but to, like for example, she may be a lady with him, but she's a freak with me. It depends on the dude that she's with. Depends how she's going to carry herself, how she's going to speak. So with me, she's not going to even think about bringing that stuff up because she already know what time it is. She's sexually attracted to me. She likes my power. She likes my control. She likes my swag. It ain't got nothing to do with no marriage minded or having children. If that comes into play, it won't be off the very rip, but the sex would if I wanted it to.
Okay, that's fine and well that you let everyone know how you are with the ladies. Thank you for showing us. It made no sense to bring it up, but okay, thanks for letting us know.
I don't think you're being realistic when you sit here and say a woman gonna get with a man and bring up marriage, children, and how much money he make, and expect him to stick around.
I don't think that you were even paying attention to the conversation enough to understand why I said that. I said that as a hypothetical.
Yeah, I know how you said it, but I'm being realistic with you. I'm being realistic. Sex is realistic.
Yes, sex is realistic. What?
That's
Marriage
realistic.
and money is realistic too. Why? Because women are attracted to men based off of their resources. Men are attracted to
Well,
men.
personally, I think the more money a man spends, the less interest he has in him sexually.
Okay, that could be the case. That could be true. However,
Because women say they want money, but a woman can get. I've had women who got all kind of men with money, but they with me. I ain't got that kind of money, but they cheating on him with me. Why?
Okay, but that's not the topic of conversation.
Okay, you're right.
But
I'm saying if we gonna speak, let's speak on something that's more realistic. Because I don't know how other men can say it. A woman come up to him the very first time talking about marriage, children, and money. He can stick around if he wants, but I don't see it happen. But a man bring up sex. I don't see no women just running around, running away.
So, Ted, did I not do my point enough as far as vulnerability and the discussion you and I are having, even though
I mean, if I'm wrong, put me in check. Educate me. It's all a matter of opinion, but educate me then.
It's not about right or wrong. We're talking about being vulnerable on the first date. And
okay, let me ask you this.
Subject of why can't women be vulnerable with men and have a mature conversation about sex.
That's cool. But let me ask you this though. You've been on a date with sex came up, right?
I don't think any man has talked about sex.
So you haven't been on a date with sex came up. Okay. Well, let's just speak in general then. Most men and women, when they go on a date, if they are honest, sex is gonna come up. But I just don't see no man going to a woman on the first date talking about marriage, children, and all this other stuff. Even if she's open, once again, that's a red flag. It's like he just wants to get married. It don't matter who he is. He don't even know you. Why he bringing up marriage?
Okay, are you?
Wait, and she would never accept a marriage proposal on her first date. She would accept a sexual proposal way before.
Exactly.
But
that's just adult.
We're having a conversation about openness and vulnerability on both sides, right? If men can't be open and vulnerable, why is there an expectation that women need to be?
That's not vulnerable. That's scary if a woman just met a dude and she started talking about marriage and children.
Well,
there's something wrong with her.
Well, now you know how a lot of women feel. Because
no, I know how a lot of women feel. That's why I don't agree with you.
Let me finish. You know how you come into contact with. But Ted and I had this conversation. I don't know when you joined. He asked why some women are comfortable talking about sex. I explained to him it's uncomfortable to bring up sex on the first date.
Why?
I don't think you're being honest. I think you're just saying what sounds good.
Your opinion of what you think I am.
No, why? Listen. If sex is something that you want to have with the guy, why is it uncomfortable to be two adults and have a conversation about it?
A lot of women.
Sam, you got some feedback going on there, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, I know. Cause like I say, I'm on my phone. I do apologize. I don't have a computer or anything. I'm just outside leaning on my car. So I wish I knew how to turn it off, but I don't. I mean, I'm gonna try the Bluetooth.
Okay, but so this is yeah, I think it's still there. So what I'm saying is, if you're two mature, consenting adults and you understand sex is going to be part of the relationship, why is it uncomfortable to have a conversation about it?
Marriage and children are going to be part of the relationship.
No. I'm asking you a specific question. We can get to that. Why is it uncomfortable to have a conversation about something that you both know you want to happen?
Because on the first date, some topics are just uncomfortable to talk about.
Why? Why is it uncomfortable?
Some things are difficult and uncomfortable. If a woman has not figured out that she wants to talk with you, she's not going to want to talk about it. Even if she has figured out that she wants to talk to you. Hold on, let me say, even if she is sexually interested in you,
right?
You want to talk about it. Why? Because it's not a conversation that you bring up in the first place.
Okay, so you see that this is what I'm getting at. If she knows she's sexually attracted to you, why not be able to talk about it?
Because how many times do I tell you my answer is not going to change.
Hey, wait, hold on. Hey, Sam, so you have to put your phone on mute. Let's see what happens.
And it's just the same as men. Men have subjects they don't want to talk about on the first date either.
But no. What? So if so,
No, you don't want to
say, listen. Women say they want to this mature guy and be able to talk openly and honestly about everything. And if sex is the most important and the most intimate thing that you can do together, why not be able to talk about it?
If you
why be uncomfortable about something that's so important?
If you have a man that you can be very open and honest with and vulnerable with, and you both are of that same mind, I don't think sex is going to be a topic that's off limits. I think when you can recognize that people put up walls immediately. Most people put up walls immediately on a first date, right? There's going to be the dipping of the toe, the knocking on the door, the climbing up over a little bit to peek to see if this wall is going to start to come down, right? Some people, mature people, that wall can come down and you can talk about anything.
Well, how do you get there if you don't open the door?
Well, first off, you have to know how open a person is. How open are you to talking about?
You're never going to know that until you open the door.
Well, you can ask the question, how open are you to talking about all matters?
Oh my God. If you ask someone how open are you, everyone says I'm open-minded, only to find out that
well, then if you say how open-minded are you, how open to you are you to all subjects? And if they say I'm very open, then you broach that conversation. But you also have to be prepared for the conversations that the questions are going to come to you. I noticed that you don't address that. You want to keep it in the fact that we only are talking about.
No. I said I'm fine with it. I'm fine. So
you're fine, but Samuel is not.
No. So even so, I'm going
okay.
to now.
Can you hear me better now?
It's better, Samuel. For all men, if she wants to bring up marriage and children, you ask her, would you, if I propose to you tonight, would you marry me? Most women are going to say no. Why? Because neither of us has qualified for marriage, right?
You haven't qualified,
which means you haven't even qualified for my bank account. So
you haven't qualified for sex.
That's why we're going to talk about it.
So then I need to qualify. So if I have to qualify for marriage and children in your bank account, then we need to talk about it.
So right. So we're gonna. But if we're not even sexually compatible, then marriage is not even going to happen.
Just be honest and say no. It's okay for men to back away from such conversations and make them uncomfortable, but women need to be open and talking about conversations that make them uncomfortable. Because that's what this is sounding like to me.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. Now, when I go out, I've had women I don't even know. I've been a bartender, I've been a DJ, I've been a seller, I've did a lot of things. Women will come up to me and just touch me, grab my shoulder, and some grab my butt. Now, if I go and do that to them, that's a problem. I can get locked up, but they have no problem doing it to me. I think you're giving no disrespect. I don't know you personally. I don't think you're being honest about how women are. When they see something they want.
Here's the thing, Sam, you are not discussing two different types of women. Those women
but I'm talking about the marriage thing. Because sexuality is what drives them. It's either sex or money, or they're trying to trap somebody. It's one of the three. Now, money is not going to be brought up. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're talking about a different type of women that I don't even congregate with.
Okay, you said that because I know you did exception. All your friends did exception. I'm speaking from the women that I.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're trying to make an argument to try to rebut my argument based on to say that what I'm saying is not true based on the women.
Because what you're saying is unrealistic.
Okay,
it's unrealistic.
But that's based on the women that you're dealing with. Okay. So it's different with me and the women in my circle and the women that I deal with. We don't operate like that. So you can't say, well, I think you're being unrealistic because this is how women operate with me. We're
not going to agree on this though, because I've had women who sit here and say this kind of stuff to one dude. He would come back and tell me how she spoke to him. Then she get with me, she's speaking totally different. So you can't say the women you dealt with, you ain't dealt with them in a relationship. You ain't dealt with them in a physical matter. You ain't dealt with them in an attractive sense.
Here's the thing: I am a professional certified matchmaker and a dating specialist. So I deal with women and I deal with men and all
You
and
speaking?
also
But
deal
I'm
with.
speaking.
So,
I'm speaking as far as sexuality is concerned. A
exactly.
woman.
But the fact
So
of the
you,
matter is, and this is the problem that we seem to have, is that men think they know women better than women, but that's why
no,
y'all
I think men are more honest with themselves.
no, y'all think y'all know women better than women know themselves, and that's why y'all end up in these groups frustrated because you thought one thing, and here is a woman trying to tell you something, and you're rejecting what she's saying because you've already based
Because it just doesn't sound realistic to me that a woman would say that to a dude.
to say what? That she wants marriage and children? If she's marriage minded, most women of a certain socioeconomic class, women who truly desire marriage and deal with certain caliber of men, this is the conversation. This is something that they,
No, that's gold digger conversation.
so, but we're talking about. So you're saying just because you don't believe a woman will talk like that, okay, that's fine.
No, I'm saying they will if they feel they got the right mark in front of them.
But that's neither here nor there. The thing is, we're talking about men being open enough to allow that discussion. It doesn't matter what type of man they have in front of them. Men
It
being
does matter. It
men,
does. The man in front of her makes a big difference. Certain things she'll say to one dude, she won't say it to another.
all right, okay.
Okay, we'll disagree to disagree, but I
Well,
just don't see a woman coming up to a man talking about children, marriage, and money on the first date
but
and
that's,
expecting him to stick around.
do you understand? Do you comprehend that that's not just because you have a hard time seeing that
But
doesn't mean
you brought up money, social economics. I done dealt with a multitude of women, all kind of different classes. It's no different. It all depends on the person in front of them, how
okay.
they think they can, how they think they read this person. A
Okay.
woman's not going to try the average man with that marriage, children, and money on the first time they talk.
Okay. Are you comprehending that
I understand exactly what you're saying
no, you're not, because
because I don't agree.
we're talking about vulnerability. I'm not talking about an absolute.
Okay,
I'm just,
what's the vulnerability in the woman? Okay, define vulnerability in this case to me.
but that's the subject of the discussion that we're having in
That's
this.
what I'm saying. Let's make sure that we look at vulnerability the same. Define it in this situation to me.
Okay, men being vulnerable, women being vulnerable enough to openly discuss sex on the first date. Okay, men being open and vulnerable enough to be able to discuss marriage, children, and finances on the first date.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. You bring up marriage, children, money, and he goes along with it. He entertains the conversation. In other words, he's gonna start telling you what you want to hear to get what you want at that point. He's just gonna BS you. He's
That's
gonna act
not.
like he's considering it, that he's open for it. Okay.
That's neither
Well, I was
here nor
saying
because I'm not interested
if
in
a
whether
man listens,
I'm not interested on what the outcome is going to be. I'm just only speaking on the aspect of vulnerability.
okay.
Can two
So
adults
if I just
on the first date be vulnerable enough to discuss anything that they want to talk about?
oh yeah, that I can agree with. If he wants to stick around, he'd be open up to have a discussion. But if most of the time if a man is not interested in that, it just depends on whether or not he just wants to say what you want to hear to get what he wants, or he just gets up and say he's not interested. But either way it go, he can play the game either way. It's not about vulnerability, it's just about not wasting time. Now if he wants to waste your time and vice versa, he'll entertain the conversation and give you his resume and all that right there and say, yes, I want two boys and I want this and that. But he's just BSing you at that point. It's not about being vulnerable. He's just at that point BSing you till he get what he wants.
Okay,
So it's not being real.
I don't deal with men like that.
How you know? But how you know he's being like that? How you know
um,
he's being like that?
because I've never dealt with a guy who is just BSing me to get some
No.
something.
Well, I'm saying you bring up marriage and he's entertaining your conversation. In his mind, he knows he's BSing you. But how do you know he's BSing you?
Because the relationship continues. So that's how I know. So
No, that's
I'm
not
not.
an answer. That's not an answer. That's
No, yes,
deflection.
that is an answer. You asked me, how do I know? And like I said, I only deal with men who are serious. Not all.
How you know whether or not he's serious though? That's what I'm asking you. How do you know if he's serious?
Do you understand
I mean,
vetting?
I think.
Process
But you
entails.
saying you only deal with men who are serious. What I'm saying is, how do you know he's serious? He could just be playing the game.
Playing the game for what? What is the purpose? I don't believe that of all men. So I don't go into the situation with that mindset that a man is going to be playing me. And so because I don't go into that with that mindset or that energy, I've not dealt with men who are only trying to play and lie to what they want from me. So I don't have that experience. So if I'm going to be, if he wants to have an open discussion about any and everything, I'm fine with that. But we both have to tear them walls down. I'm a marriage-minded woman. So yes, I only date for the purpose of marriage. So I'm going to discuss. So if you want to discuss sex with me on the first date, okay, let's have a conversation about marriage, children, and what your bank account look like, because that's what's important to me. If sex is important to you, sex is important to me. But number one on my list is resources. So if sex is your number one, all right, so let's talk about our number ones. Let's be open about it. Let's have that conversation. Most men are going to get freaked out and turned off. Even if you flip it, women will be freaked out and turned off about certain discussions because they're not comfortable. That's what the conversation is about. Why are people uncomfortable talking about certain things? It's not just
Well,
about.
maybe it must just be me because, like you said, people you deal with and people I deal with of all social statuses and whatever, blue collar, white collar, whatever, they don't have that problem when they get straight to the point with women. They have a problem when they beat around the bush. They have a problem when they start showing they weak and they're afraid to be a man and say what's on his mind. That's when the problem comes in.
Okay, let's take you out of it. Let's take me out of it. And let's just look at it as, okay, people are uncomfortable talking about certain things on the first date. Why is that?
Do you want a man who just on this? Okay, so when you talking to a man, first date, phone, whatever the case may be, walking down the sidewalk, do you want him to just be honest with you and be himself, or you want him to be the person that he thinks you want him to be so he can get his objective completed?
To be honest and
he's not going to be offended.
But
that's what I'm saying. He's not going to be offended. He's just not going to waste time. But if he's going to waste time, he'll waste your time too. If that's the game you want to play.
I said, take you out of it. Take me out of it.
I'm speaking in general. I'm speaking in general for men.
They're
not vulnerable to the conversation. They just don't like to waste time.
Most people are uncomfortable with certain subjects. Women are uncomfortable with certain subjects being brought up. Men are uncomfortable with certain subjects being brought up. Is that not true?
No, I can't agree with that. We're two adults. We can discuss anything. But
exactly.
For example,
hold it right there. But see, here's the problem. When does the discomfort go away? So if you do get into a relationship with a person, what makes you think they're all of a sudden going to become comfortable with it? Because there are a lot of women who are still uncomfortable talking about sex, even though you've had sex with them.
Yeah, I think she got some issues going on. Because once again, this is my opinion. If you're an adult mentally, you will be honest, you'll be open, and then if you're not on the same page, you'll just say it's been real, boom, boom, boom. But it's not about, I think, being uncomfortable. It's like, okay, she's talking about this or he's talking about that. I'm not feeling that, so let's not waste each other's time because we're not compatible. But I agree with that fully. But what I'm saying, I think men in general, unless they playing games, they don't like to waste time. And we pretty much would just end it unless we just want to, tread too along till we get what we want, then go ahead and end it. That's why it's always best to be honest. I think men are very honest. Get to the plate. That way she can say yes or no. We just save a lot of time. We can get to it or we can go on about our business. But someone got to be straight up and get to the point and just be open about it.
Right. I think y'all both are being distant. I think everybody in this conversation participating with the exception of you are being disobedient and will not admit that men want to be able to talk about sex because that's what y'all want.
No, because women ain't being honest. Women want sex way more than men do.
You don't.
Women.
It doesn't matter if she doesn't want to discuss.
It does matter.
Yes, it does. If she doesn't want to discuss it, she doesn't want to discuss it. It doesn't matter if she wants it or she doesn't want it. If she doesn't want to discuss it, she doesn't want to discuss it. But
then I'm going about my business because we're not compatible.
Hold on. But you guys want to discuss what you want to discuss.
No, but I'm telling you straight up. If she don't want to discuss it, if she doesn't want to discuss it, then we're not compatible because she's not the type of woman that I'm interested in. She wants to play games.
Like I said, you guys want to discuss what you want to discuss, but a woman can't.
I'm discussing honesty because women will say one thing and mean another.
You're being disingenuous.
No, because women say one thing, but they mean the opposite.
It doesn't.
They'll sit here and act a certain way.
That does not
sit here
matter.
and say, okay.
That doesn't matter. The point is that it seems that you guys want women to be able to talk about sex and not shut you down on that conversation. But women don't have that same freedom. Because if she starts talking about certain things that are like uncomfortable and off the table, like we just met, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, we just met. Why are you bringing this up? It's the same thing with women. Wait a minute, we just met. Why are you bringing up sex on the first date? Why do we have to talk about sex on the first date anyway?
No, because that's a smart thing to do. Because once again, this is me right here. We don't have to have sex, but I need to know that we still on the same page. And if I wanted to, it would be returned. Now, if I don't bring that up, then I don't know what we're saying. See, I got to know what we're saying so I can know where to go from there. So if we don't get an understanding that I know I ain't going to have sex with you tonight, but at the same time, I need to know that if I wanted to, it would be mutual. If it's not mutual, then I just know basically I'm wasting my time. Exactly. We have to have sex.
Rest my case. Y'all continue.
But we don't have to have sex, but it needs to be on the table. If I wanted to open that table up and put that leaf in it, it needs to be on the table. If we don't put it on the table, then what are we doing? We just BSing each other around.
I rest my case. YouTube.
It's all about. See me. I get straight to the point. I don't believe in procrastinating. I'm talking now because I call in to talk, but most of the time I'm real quiet. And I speak when I feel I need to make a point. But one thing I do have to have is an understanding. If we don't get an understanding, then we really just we're not going in no particular direction whatsoever because we don't know each other.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
Now, like I said, we can talk about whatever, but I need to understand first that there is a sexual attraction there that we're both mutual on. Now, like I said, we ain't got to have sex that first night. We ain't got to have it that first week. I got other stuff to do. But the point that I'm making, I need to understand we're still on the same page. Then we can take it from there.
Again, let's talk about it all. I'm not saying discuss one matter over the other. Let's talk about it all. But like I said, people are uncomfortable with talking about certain subjects on the first date, men and women. It seems as if you guys only want to focus on women and what makes us uncomfortable, but you guys don't want to admit that there are certain things that y'all don't want to talk about, whether it's a comfort factor or not. Some things you just don't want to talk about on the first date. He even admitted that. Ted, you said differently. Okay, so that just means that you can't think for all people. You have to have an understanding that some people are going to be okay with certain things and some people are not. But if you're going to say, let's be open and women need to be vulnerable, but yet you guys can't even admit that men can't even be vulnerable on the first date.
Why are women demanding that men be vulnerable?
You're demanding that we be vulnerable.
Because that's your nature.
So it's not your nature. Who says it's our nature?
Absolutely. Because if you're looking for protection, and being vulnerable and protecting don't go together. So either you want protection or you want vulnerability. So, and let me, which one?
I love how you like to gaslight the conversation.
No. It's listen. If you want protection, there's a nature of a man. Our biochemistry doesn't support that. Your biochemistry does.
It is. So, are you in protection mode when you're bringing up subject matters that makes a woman uncomfortable? Because you know this for a fact that certain subjects make women uncomfortable.
How do I know that?
You've even alluded to that. That's why you asked, why are women uncomfortable talking about?
I don't understand why anyone would be uncomfortable talking about sex, even if they are a virgin.
I get and understand why you don't understand it, but the fact of the matter is, you know that happens.
No, I don't. So hold on.
So then what was the point?
Wait. I have to acknowledge Pressure Bus and Pipes. Thanks for the super chat. I'll eat some stale Cracker Jacks, but you got to give them to me right now. Patrice O'Neill. The older the woman, the sooner sex should be. All right. Thanks for that. And he sent another one. Letitia speaking from experience. Why is it okay for a woman to ask a man for money or an expensive date, and not okay for a man to ask for sex?
That wasn't even a conversation. Where did that come from? Like, no one even said that. I didn't even say that. So I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, speaking from experience, I don't know.
So one of the things that women are sexually motivated, just like men are. So we can say that they're not, because like Sam was saying, I've seen women, and we're not talking about the whores. I've seen women touching my chest when they're talking to me. I used to wear suits with no shirt under it, and guys would say, "Oh man, did you see her looking down your shirt?" I didn't see it, but other guys saw it. So women are just as sexually motivated to be with a man that a man is to be with a woman. And why we have to pretend. So it's like we pretend that women don't have sexual motivations. So if a woman is sexually motivated, why should it be uncomfortable to talk about something so natural and something that motivates her?
So just because a woman touches your chest and is open with her sexuality and is making it clear.
No. She didn't make it that she wanted sex with me, but she just met me, and she's laughing and joking, and it's like I see the whole hand sliding down her chest.
That is a woman who's found you sexually appealing.
Exactly.
Hold on. But just because that woman, so you think just because that woman has done it, then that means all women are that way when it comes to sex. All women feel that way when they meet men, and they're that open, and they no. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You're taking your little anecdotal experiences, and you're juxtaposing them onto all women, and that is not the case. So when you meet a woman like me who is saying, "No, I'm uncomfortable," and then you're like, "Wait a minute, no, you shouldn't be uncomfortable because this woman over here felt some type of way, and she was fine with it." Okay, but what does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with me? That is not all women. And that's just like saying, well, because all men pay for dates for me, then that means every man is going to do it. Every man is going to want to do it.
I said women are sexually motivated. I gave examples. I'm saying women are the women who are not sexually motivated are the exception to the rule.
No, the women who are sexually motivated are the exception to the rule, because women will use their
sex. Why did you say no and then repeat what I said?
I meant women who are you said women who don't use it.
No, I said women are sexually motivated, and the ones who are not are the exception to the rule.
I said the women who are sexually motivated are the exception to the rule. Women who are not.
If a woman wants children, that's sexual motivation. Women are sexually motivated for so many things, whether it's to gain access to a man's resources, whether to have time, whether to move up in the workforce. Women are sexually motivated. When a woman is touching my chest, when a woman is you meet a woman for the first time, or I watch a man and woman meet for the first time, it could be a business networking event, and you watch that woman's pelvis like a magnet move towards that man, that woman is sexually motivated to speak to that man. So you see this over and over and over, that women have the same sexual motivations as a man.
No.
And she can be very feminine and reserved and still be sexually motivated. Because if a man is in a relationship with a woman and he never has sex with her, that woman won't want to be there.
Women are not sexually motivated for the most part. We are relationally motivated. We're relationally motivated.
What does that have to do? That still want sex. Women. Listen, there are women out there having one night stands. They're cheating. There are women married cheating with another man.
You guys are really using the smallest
80% of women are cheating.
Take these little and how many? And what's the percentage of women who have one night stands? If it's not the majority of women, 10 out of 5.
One night stands? No.
Are motivated
Percentage of women cheating over 50%. Percentage of women having one night stands over 50%.
Women are motivated by their desire to connect with a man, to be for commitment, for relationship.
Then why is she cheating?
It's not the same. Quit deflecting, because that's not. It doesn't matter why she's cheating. Women are
motivation.
If you notice who she cheats with, she's gonna cheat with someone who can give her more resources. That's her motivation for cheating. That is a woman's motivation. Is a man's resources. Men's motivation is to have sex. So no, it's not the same. It's not the same when you and I meet, we're standing face to face, you're going to be thinking about having sex with me. I'm not going to be thinking about having sex with you. And I'm not saying just because a man may not be attractive, but that's not the first thing that comes to a woman's mind. So why are y'all trying to sit here and say it's the same on both ends when y'all know it's not? We are not biologically the same, and we are not biochemically the same. So why are y'all having this idea?
Are you saying women have no sex? Are you saying women have no sexual motivation?
Yes, I am saying that women, for the most part, are not sexually motivated when it comes to.
So then that means
that's not our motivation.
Women never want to have sex. Then
now you're having a straw man argument because I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying women.
I didn't say that.
No. Maybe you could be misunderstanding me. Women are sexually motivated, meaning that a woman is motivated on her own to want to have sex.
No, that's not what I am saying.
Well, see, this is what I'm trying to get this clear.
Because you're not.
No. Listen. I'm the one who said sexually motivated, not you. I'm saying women are motivated independently from any man for sexual fulfillment. Otherwise, they wouldn't be selling so many dildos and sexual vibrators. Women are on their own motivated to have sex.
You guys really trying to correlate the fact that we do have a biochemical response that causes us to get horny, basically.
Exactly.
And if there's a man there, guess what? I mean, if there's a man there, she's gonna have sex with him. If there's not a man, if she doesn't have a man in her life, she might use a toy. But that does not mean
sexual motivation.
No. You're trying to connect dots that aren't there. That is not the same thing. Women are not.
Wait, time out. See, it's the biochemistry is the same for a man. It's not. No. Wait. Listen to what I'm saying. The man wanting sex is any human being, male or female, wanting sex is because of biochemistry. That's just nature set that up.
Okay, but you guys are naturally and through nature are on just about any moment.
You have no proof. This is just
the fact that you guys
no.
The fact that you guys can impregnate 10 women at the same time. Your body has to create a response.
I can impregnate 10 women I want to see a man impregnate 10 women at the same time.
Well, not you know what I mean. Not simultaneously.
No, I don't. Same time.
One after the other. You don't have to wait 9 months to impregnate a woman. So your response, your body is created for you to be able to have sex on demand in order to deposit your seed in a woman so that you can get her pregnant. A woman's body, there is a response that is going to happen for us so to signal that we need to have sex because we are ovulating in order for us to have a baby. So no, it's not the same. Yes, we are biochemically created to want to have sex for the purpose of procreation.
Exactly.
It's not the same. It is not.
No. At no point did I listen. Here's what I'm saying. Men and women are sexually motivated. That men and women, their biochemistry will naturally, just as going to the bathroom, just as eating food, men and women will desire sex. They have a motivation to have sexual intercourse.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. That's
not all you're saying.
Listen, you cannot tell me what I'm saying. When I say
a conversation that we were having, and you're using this.
No, listen. Well, I'm establishing women are motivated by sex, just as men are motivated by sex. There's nothing wrong with that. Why would a woman deny that she has sexual desires?
No woman will deny that. But there
Okay,
is
so then she has
no
sexual.
woman is denying that. But you are saying, you're trying to say, well, because a woman desires sex just like men desire sex, well, then you guys can have that conversation with us when we want to have that conversation. What's the big deal? It's not the same. It's not.
Listen. If you're both interested in sex and it's natural,
Jesus, I'm sorry, Lord, forgive me.
if you're both interested in sex and it's natural,
You know
and
what?
in the listen, the woman will not stay in a sexless marriage. And if it's a boyfriend girlfriend, she's out even faster.
Women will stay in a sexless marriage. That's why you have so many men complaining that they're not getting sex.
Yeah, because she may be having sex with Sam.
No.
She
Don't
may
do
be
that.
having sex with Sam.
Don't do that. Do not do that.
Okay, she's having sex with me. Then.
No, don't do that. Now you're trying to change the narrative.
No, I'm not.
These men are not complaining that their wives are cheating on them. They're just saying the sex stops. So unless
They don't even know.
No, but so then you can't interject that into the conversation. Let's talk about what we do know. We're not talking about the facts. What we do know.
Okay, women have their own independent desire for sex. There is motivation by the female human being to have sexual intercourse. There is motivation independent of a man. That is what, and because women enjoy being penetrated by a man's penis, his phallus, she is motivated either to buy a dildo, or unless she's putting in the real bucks and buys a robot, where she's going to buy a dildo, a vibrator, something so she can be penetrated, right? Even lesbian women engage in penetration. So women want to be penetrated. She is sexually motivated. Now,
you're wrong. Most women do not buy dildos to be penetrated.
Okay.
Majority of women buy vibrators for oral stimulation because she simply wants to have an orgasm.
Great. So that means she's sexually. That is part of orgasm is part of the sexual interaction, and she's motivated for that.
Okay. What you're being disingenuous because you are trying to make it seem like you're just trying to say women like sex. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Okay, then stop right there. So now we're on the same page.
Let me finish.
No. I was never finished.
Okay.
I keep repeating the same thing because you stopped me. So if a woman wants to naturally have sex, and this is a natural trajectory of her interaction if she's heterosexual with a man, and if the man never pursues sex with her, most women, the majority, will place him in a friend zone and think this man doesn't want me. So
what does all of this have to do with the fact?
You don't want me to finish. You don't want me to finish. You have to hear what I'm saying. Okay. So because the woman has sexual motivation as part of her relationship, if a woman's going to have an intimate relationship with a man, part of her reason for the relationship, I'm sorry if the conversation is getting you heated.
You got me heated right now.
So part of the woman's intent in having an intimate relationship with a man is for sexual intercourse, why do we pretend it's not going to be part of the relationship? And if we know it's going to be part of it, why are we afraid to have a conversation about it early on?
Who said anything about being afraid to have a conversation about it?
If you are offended, feared, afraid, whatever the word is, why aren't we having these true adult conversations where man and woman can talk about things that naturally occur in a relationship between a man and woman? This is only natural.
Okay, I don't understand why you're not understanding. And we just had an example. if you're not, people have walls up when they go on a first date. There are some things that people are not going to be comfortable talking about. If a woman can accept that men aren't going to be comfortable talking about babies, money, and all the other stuff, the things that she wants to discuss, I want to know. I don't want to waste my time. I want to know if you're going to marry me and give me kids, and if you financially take care of the family, right?
Yeah, if you're good enough in bed, maybe I will.
Finished. Okay. Men are not going to be comfortable with that topic, with that subject. So what I don't understand is, why are y'all up here acting like it's a death sentence that women are out to manipulate, destroy, whatever. Like, she don't say something about your mama if she's uncomfortable with talking about sex. It's as simple as that. People are uncomfortable with certain subjects on both sides. And if men can't admit that they're uncomfortable, then y'all gonna have to get over the fact that women are uncomfortable. There's nothing more to talk about.
Well, hey, Gary, we said that sex was a mutual exchange, and the women seem to think it's not.
It's not. Y'all say it is, and women are saying no, it's not. And why are y'all telling us we're lying?
So why do women not know their bodies well enough to make it a mutual exchange?
That's neither here nor
there. That's it. Why? So women are responsible for their sexual motivations.
But that's neither here nor there. That's a whole other conversation.
Well, this is part of all the conversation. See, if you're not mature enough to deal with sex, then you may not be mature enough to even understand your own sexuality.
It has absolutely nothing to do with maturity. The fact of the matter is, men believe sex is a mutual benefit, and women across the board are saying it's not. And you guys are trying to gaslight us and saying it is. We're saying it's not. End of subject. That's it. Now, if you want to have a conversation as to why that is, that's a whole other conversation. We can do that. But to sit here and say, no, y'all know it is mutually beneficial, and then try to
wait. No. You said something that I think we need to really look at that. So if a woman doesn't understand her body, how is she sexually mature?
Just because I don't want to talk about
No. If a woman doesn't understand her body, how is she sexually? Because sexual maturity is understanding your own sexual body first. And if you are, this is a strong word, if you're ignorant about your own body and how to enjoy sex, how could you be classified as sexually mature?
I'm trying not to go back because I'm getting frustrated right now.
No,
I'm trying not to get frustrated right now.
If you don't understand your own sexual body as a woman, how could you make the claim that you are sexually mature if you?
I didn't make that claim.
Huh?
I didn't make that claim.
No, but this is really
no one that makes that claim. This is
so if we could establish that a woman, you're now, according to you, 90% of women are sexually immature when it comes to their own sexuality.
See, this is the gaslighting. Anytime a woman talks about that they're not, anytime the conversation comes up about women, sex not being mutually beneficial, women aren't having orgasms, if consistently or if not at all. And the first thing you want to go to is, well, that's because you're sexually immature.
Okay, listen. If a woman has not matured enough to understand her own sexual body, how could she ever be classified as a sexually mature woman? So if 90% of the women don't understand their bodies, right, and they have this sexual immaturity, then you know what? Then you are right. Then 90% of the women are going to be uncomfortable because they haven't developed their own sexuality to even be able to appreciate the act in itself.
Well, I'm glad you finally understand what I'm saying, even though you're trying to shame women about it, because that's what it comes off as.
No, I'm not shaming. So
Yes.
look, here's no
Shaming like language. Yeah.
no, it's not. Listen. It's a call to action. So if you're not mature enough about your own sexual body, right? And a man could be sexually immature also, right? But if a woman is sexually immature, there are things that she can do to change that so that her sex life is transformed and she can actually have the experience of a mutual sexual engagement with a man. And that will open up entirely new doors that will allow her to have conversations that before she had walls up because she was that. Look, if you're incompetent, listen, if you're incompetent about a particular subject, you will put up walls to avoid going down that path. So if you're incompetent about your own sexuality, which makes you sexually immature, I understand why you wouldn't want to have the conversation. So this is a call to action for the 90% of women who are incapable of having a mutually beneficial sexual relationship with men, that you can actually do something about that.
I reject what you're saying. And the reason why I reject what you're saying is because I don't have a problem orgasming.
So you're part of the 10%.
Hold on. No, I still don't want to discuss sex on the first date.
Why not?
Because it's something I'm not comfortable talking about. Why? I don't talk about sex on the first date. That's not the purpose that I'm trying to get to know you for, is sex.
Well, see, okay.
I don't need to talk to you about sex.
But here's why. I'm going to tell you why you do. Because you understand compatibility is more important than love. It's more important than having things in common. Mm-hmm. And so how do you manage money? I need to know that. If I can know that on the first date, I know that you are horrible at managing money, I'm not taking you out again. Listen, okay. If I'm not compatible with you sexually, mm-hmm. why would I want to have sex with you? Okay? If I'm not compatible with you when it comes to effective and transparent communication, all of these things I want to know as soon as possible. And sex being one of the top 3 reasons for divorce, I need to know that early on if we're compatible at that.
Okay, but you said that if a woman is not orgasming, it's because she's sexually immature. And if she's sexually immature, she's going to be uncomfortable talking about these things. Well, I'm telling you, I'm a woman who has absolutely no issues with having an orgasm. But yet it's a conversation that I feel that is not acceptable to have on a first date.
And do you think sex is an important part of compatibility?
Yes, it is, but it's still not a conversation that I'm going to have on a first date.
If it's so how long does a man need to know to find out if he's compatible? Like, why should I keep investing my own time only to find out I'm not compatible?
I tell you what, when I can talk to you about marriage, money, and children, then we can.
You can listen, that's important, but none of that can happen if we're not sexually compatible.
Yeah, that can happen because we're going to discuss both times, all this stuff.
I said whenever you want, but I'm saying marriage, money, and children won't happen if we're not sexually compatible.
Exactly. But even if you talk about sex, you still won't even know if you're really sexually compatible. So let's be honest about that. However, but we're talking about the fact that you're trying to equate women who aren't having orgasms. They don't see sex as a mutual benefit to them. And you're saying, well, that's because they don't know their bodies. They're sexually immature. And of course, sexually immature women wouldn't want to talk about sex. Well, I'm telling you, as a woman who has no problem having orgasms, which means I know, hold on, let me finish. It means I know.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm leaning forward.
What are you trying to look at?
I'm trying to look.
Well, you got the little thing blocking, so I'm glad.
Let's see if we can get rid of that thing.
You can't see, so. But as a woman who doesn't have a problem with orgasming, I thoroughly enjoy sex. I still don't want to have that conversation on the very first date.
Why? Who taught you that is an inappropriate thing to do?
That's me.
No, when you were born, the day you were born, or you were getting your diapers changed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Listen, the day you were born, you would have never thought that was inappropriate.
It's not about it being inappropriate. I just don't want to have that conversation.
Why would you be uncomfortable about something you know how to enjoy?
Talk about something that's not happening right now. That's why. I don't want to talk about something it's not happening. You're not getting sex on the first night. That's a no-go.
No. This is not.
I'm telling you why I don't want to have that conversation.
Okay, so good. So if I say, hey, look, I like spending time with you. We've spoken over the phone. I enjoy time with you. While I'm sexually attracted to you and I would want to have sex with you, I don't think this first date is the time for that to happen. I don't think either one of us is ready for that.
Okay.
Are you going to be turned? Is that going to be? Is that going to make you uncomfortable?
What's going to make me uncomfortable is your response to what I'm going to say is, and that's fine, and I understand that because I have a rule of not having sex on the first date. And
Good.
You know what? I think that because I want to get married, that children and marriage and your responsibility to a family is very important. We don't have to discuss it right now, but at some point we're going to have to talk about, are you going to marry me, give me children, and are you financially capable of taking care of those children?
And I would say, you know what? Those are all good points. If I were to ask you to marry me tonight, would you consider it?
I would say, yes, Ted, I'm going to marry you. Yes.
And that's what most women would do.
No, that's not what most women would do.
Good. Now, wait. Here, let me.
You're asking a question.
Let me finish the train of thought before you disrupt it. So most women would say, no, I wouldn't marry you and make a baby tonight, right? So I got it. So let me ask you this. So you established sex on a first date is not something that you would do. I respect that, and I'm fine with that. But let me ask you this. If I make this a mind-blowing night that you're so comfortable and feel so connected, and both of us felt a sexual chemistry that was undeniable, would you decline sex tonight?
Would you decline marrying me?
Well, you already told me you wouldn't.
Would you decline? So can you see yourself, could you see yourself marrying me tonight?
I would need more from you to know if you qualify for that. So qualifying for sex and qualifying for marriage is not the same.
No, sir. No, sir. Absolutely not. You have to qualify for these cookies just like I got to qualify for your bank.
Well, and that's what I just established, right? So no. Listen. This is what I'm saying, right? So I make this a mind-blowing night where I qualify for you sexually. I'm asking you.
Oh, wait. And there lies the problem. You think you qualified for me sexually because you gave me this wonderful date. That doesn't qualify you for my goodies.
It's not just a wonderful date. I'm saying like you feel like the stars lined up and that the sexual chemistry is so thick that your natural inclination for sex. No. I'm just this is a question.
I know that.
How would you feel if you and I got to the point at some point tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Would you stop, even though you want to have sex with me? Would you let it happen or would you stop it?
I would stop it.
Okay, see, that's what I wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
This is a conversation. So I understand that no matter how great things are going with us, sex is not going to happen. And so my 100% focus is that you and I are going to get to know one another. And you're going to have a great time, and so am I.
Okay.
But we just talked about sex though.
But you and I are two mature adults.
No, but see what when you start closing doors, so if sex could happen on a first date, what's wrong with that? I think there's a lot of misconceptions about so much judgment.
Or people, no, because there are people who do engage in sex on the first date.
And
So
get married.
And they may get married. That's
Right.
But that's two people who know where they are and where they stand. If I want to marry you and I know you're going to marry me on a first date, of course, sex can happen. Sex is going to happen. But that question is uncomfortable to ask of men. So women don't know
what's uncomfortable to ask of men.
to talk about guy on a first date. I'm feeling him. I'm really I'm like, wow, he could really be the one.
Right.
Are you gonna marry me?
Right.
Marry me tonight.
I actually haven't spent enough time with you to know that because me as a man, compatibility is important, and there's so many things from the way you handle tough situations, the way that our sexual compatibility, the way you handle money, how you resolve disputes, like all these things.
And you know what? And that's fine, and I understand.
We're compatible, right? But see, this is where if I tell you there are certain things I need to know about you to know if we're compatible for marriage, what are the things you need to know about me to know if sex is actually going to happen?
I need to know if you're going to commit to me. That's what I need to know for sex to happen.
Why can't we have that conversation? Why can't we have that conversation on the first date?
We've already established it takes.
No. But do you understand? See, like it's so you just said, okay, I would have a sex with you. So, and then I say, okay, let's suppose. Let's say I can knock your socks off in the first date and you're having a great time. Now, let's suppose you knock my socks off and I say, I want to commit to you. And we are both in this state of complete sexual and intellectual attraction with one another. Mm-hmm. And I commit to you on this first date. Can sex happen?
Yes, it can.
Gosh, I do know what you need right now.
No, I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even.
Oh my God!
No, don't even try it.
In the chat room, did you all hear this? Do you see why talking about sex on the first date has value?
Of course, it has value. I never.
Oh my God! We had to go through all of that.
I'm gonna throw this phone. No. Don't try it. Don't do that. No. Don't try it.
Did you all see what just happened? Did everyone see
Wait a minute. First off, this is not.
Did you all see it? I have witnesses.
Hold on. I don't see no.
Get the lights up. Get the lights up. Did you all see that?
No. Listen. I don't see any steak.
If a lady hasn't put a like up there, I need the ladies to get some likes.
Oh my God. No, Ted, don't try that because you're making it seem as if you asked, why can't people talk about sex on the first date? I didn't say it couldn't happen. I said this is why people are uncomfortable. People are uncomfortable discussing things. You didn't ask, is it possible to happen? That wasn't your question.
Yes, it was.
It was not. That was your question that you posed in this little roundabout that we just did, this little hypothetical scenario that could possibly be real one day.
No, it's real. That's real.
That wasn't real. I don't see any steak. Wait a minute. Hold on. That was real. Where's my steak? Where's my lobster? Where's my shrimp? I don't have no roasts.
You want your steak right now?
You going? Yes. Where's my DoorDash it to me? Let's make this a real date.
You ready to swallow that steak?
I don't know how you're gonna get some when you're all the way in Jersey and I'm in Florida. We're gonna have virtual sex.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wait a minute. People do that. That's the real thing. Oh my God. So what type of date is this? No, you're trying to get the goodies at a low cost. No, I want a real date first. I reject.
Did you all see that we went all around in circles?
No, we did not. No, we didn't. Again, You never
told me what it would take to have sex on a first date.
Exactly.
So that the only way we got there was to talk about it.
I never said that you shouldn't talk about it. I never said
uncomfortable.
Talk about it. I said you asked why don't people talk about it, and I said it's uncomfortable. First off, I am a woman who is open, not open sexually, but I am a woman who enjoys sex. And so I understand. And I'm also a woman who knows exactly what I want, and I'm not interested in wasting my time. So I'm comfortable with having certain subjects because sex is high on my list for compatibility. Money, resources is high on my list for
compatibility. But look, Crystal said something important. Crystal said, well, women normally circle first.
No, I did not circle. You didn't ask the question correct. You didn't ask the question to get the answer that you wanted. You asked me a completely different question, expected me to know exactly what it was you was asking me.
This was the conversation. That was the train of thought I've been introducing the whole time.
Why did you no?
Like, you kept like a football player.
No. Hold on. How many times have I told you? Ask me directly what it is you want me to answer. Because if you try to do this circle about roundabout, I'm going to answer the question what you're asking me. You never asked me, is it okay? Should sex be talked about? I don't have a problem with sex being
all been recorded. I did ask you.
That's fine. No, you didn't ask me. And even if you did, you know what? I do recall saying, yes, sex should be talked about, but it's uncomfortable. You're saying, why isn't it? You said, why isn't? And I kept saying, it's uncomfortable. And you're saying, well, why isn't uncomfortable? And I'm telling you why it's uncomfortable. But I never, ever disagreed in saying that sex should not be talked about. It is important to be talked about. I think people should talk about everything, but also know from the woman's perspective and from the men's perspective, they don't want to talk about a lot of things. So my thing is, if a man doesn't want to talk about what women want to talk about, really truly on the first date, then he does not get to discuss what it is that he wants to discuss. If so you're not
that's tit for tat.
If you want
tit for tat.
Okay, no, it's not tit for tat. That's called reciprocity.
Okay.
Reciprocity is we're both giving. We're both giving. And if I'm the only one giving, then what is the mutual benefit in this? You're the only one getting something out of it. So let's make it mutually beneficial so that we both can talk about the things that are important to us. So if money, resources, marriage, and children is important to me, I should be able to come to you and talk about that. Yes, if sex is important to you, if sex, which it is for most men, then let's talk about it. It's not for most women.
Yeah, we'll see how many women stick around if the man he's not putting out.
Listen, because it's not about sex when a man's not putting out. It's about how we see ourselves as women. Okay. If you're not putting out, we could hate having sex, but if you don't want to have sex with us, it does something to our self-esteem. Oh, you must want somebody else. Oh, you must not find me attractive, because we understand that that's how you view us is through sex, but we don't view men the same way. Now, if you don't have what we need, what's necessary, then you are going to have a problem. If your money's not right, and that if your money's not right, that's why most women.
Oh, now you're going off on a different topic. So Crystalline says.
Now we can't.
No, listen. Crystalline said something important. She said Ted will have to choose a woman who is comfortable going in depth with the topic. That's why you do this on a first date. This is part of qualifying a person. You need to find out as soon as possible because you can't get your time back.
We're gonna talk on when this is over with, because you didn't add you asked specifically why are people uncomfortable with talking about sex. That's the question I was answering. I never once said it shouldn't be discussed. I said people don't like talking about it. Okay, you and I just went through a scenario where we were open and comfortable one-on-one talking about it. You and I don't have a problem. So if you and I were on a date, I'm pretty sure you and I could talk about these things openly. That's not the case for everybody.
Well, so I'm introducing a new possibility. So we have a social structure that doesn't work.
Okay.
So if it doesn't work and women are fixated on I have to do it this way and it's not working for anyone, even though women are still sexually motivated, just like men are. We don't have to compare who's most. Women want sex, men want sex. So what? So why are we unable to talk about it? And if it could, it doesn't have to, like the guy Sam, it doesn't have to happen on a first date. But you know, if it can, well, let's talk about that, right? And if it's going to happen in 2 weeks, why can't we? So what do you need to be comfortable for you and I to have sex? So you gave it simple. So, and I think if guys understood that, like if some woman said, you have to spend $500 on me. Okay. I mean, that may sound shallow, but some women may have that in their mind. It depends on how much money you spend on me. And if you may hate that, what some guy needs to know, if I spend $500 on you tonight, are we going to have sex? Because you just said you have to spend a certain. No, I'm not talking about you.
I know you're not talking about me. I'm saying.
But so, and some women may say, well, you have to commit to me, or some women may say we have to marry first. So what? I would want to know this up front, and why can't I have some understanding about your comfort around sex?
Okay. Do you really want me to answer? Do you really want a true answer from me? Because I feel like I keep answering and you're not listening.
No, that wasn't, this is for everybody. This is what this whole conversation was about.
Because it's not one-sided. That's what men are forgetting. Y'all are trying to make this one-sided and it's
okay.
not.
Here's the deal. Women look for men to lead. They look for men to lead the conversations, the relationship. And if I am willing to lead and put my butt on the line and talk about something as intimate as sex, then I'm leading that conversation. If there's something you want to have, a conversation you want to have, you are responsible for bringing that up. When I bring up sex, this is not one-sided. This is about you and I, at both of us in sex. It's not one-sided because I want to know what you think.
It is one-sided because you want to discuss it and you want the woman to discuss it because you want to discuss it, but you can't seem to accept that she just might be uncomfortable with discussing it.
I understand. And she's going to have to put on some big girl panties if she wants to be around me because she may not be able to survive if she can't step up. So I need to know, the sooner I can know that, the better. Because if she's going to disqualify herself, let's do that now.
So, okay, that's exactly what's going to happen.
So
men need to do that. So if a woman is uncomfortable with discussing sex on the first date, then he needs to disqualify her immediately.
And there are women who are uncomfortable talking about marriage on a first date.
And men and women, if men are uncomfortable talking about, they want to talk about sex, but they don't want to talk about marriage and children and their money on the first date, disqualify them immediately. Because y'all are not compatible. Neither person is open to being vulnerable with the other.
What? So why? No, it's not a man's job to be vulnerable. That's not what masculinity. That's what femininity is.
Okay, so then just being open and honest. Then how about that one?
Stop asking men to be women.
Okay, so then fine, open and honest. But men will view themselves as prizes, so they already see themselves as women.
No,
so
we're talking about now. You're trying to go off on some.
I'm not. But I mean, you're saying stop trying to view men as women, but it seems to me that they kind of already view themselves as such.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, there are guys for women who want feminine men. There are guys for them.
Okay.
And wait, didn't he cheat? That's a lie. Men don't have femininity. That's what feminists imposed on men. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I have no femininity. If any woman wants femininity from me, she needs to bring it to the table. All right. So
that's somebody to talk about sex on the first day. Okay, so listen, all I'm saying is, okay, so then if men want women to be vulnerable on the first date. They have to go in with the willingness to be open and discuss certain topics. Men
and be ready to protect her, right? Emotionally, so she feels safe to be vulnerable. That's
right.
a job of that is one of the things that a man is going to have to do, is to create an environment for a woman to feel safe, right?
Exactly.
And it's not about whether sex happens on a first date. However, to make her feel safe enough that if it does, she's not going to be judged and penalized for it, right? So if you could have that conversation, is that's the other reason why I'm putting that on the table. How would a woman know? Like, you know, some guy can give you, he's going to communicate some way that sex on a first date is not what he's looking for, even though he may pursue it. Is, look, I just want you to know I'm sexually attracted. Don't need sex on a first date, right? But if it happens, if he's telling you it doesn't need, he's probably not looking for that. He just needs you to be reassured that he's sexually attracted to you, and that's what he wants. And in the meantime, for right now, I want to build a bond with you, and I'm willing to do what it takes to do that.
Okay, I accept. No, I don't know what's going on with the AC right now. I'm like,
not, you've got plenty. I hear it working over there.
no, that's the thing on my laptop. I think the lighting I have on is causing, to be hot right now.
So I want you to speak to the people in the chat for one. Tell them why. Tell them why you now have a new perspective.
I don't have a new perspective. My perspective never changed. You asked me a particular question and I answered it in that way. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't understand. My mind may be different. I'm not going to pretend to dig deep and figure out what it is you're really trying to ask me. If you want to know something, you have to ask me that particular question. Because if you ask me a question and the surface level question, you're going to get a surface level answer. So if you're going to ask, why are women uncomfortable talking about sex? I'm going to tell you why. If you ask why women don't want to talk about sex on the first date, I'm going to tell you they're uncomfortable. And then you're going to ask me why they're uncomfortable. And then I'm going to give you the reasons as to why they're uncomfortable. If you want to know if I think that it's a good idea to talk about sex on the first date, I think people definitely should talk about everything on the first date. Men and women should lay their expectations and their requirements and their standards and their deal breakers. They should lay it all out there on the line. But we all know that most people will not allow themselves to be that open. And the call with Samuel proved that. The moment that women want to talk about what it is they want to talk about, if a woman comes to a man and says, okay, let's talk about marriage, you're going to feel uncomfortable if she starts talking about marriage and babies on the first date. But y'all want to act like her talking about sex is egregious? Come on, you're being disingenuous. And that's all I have to say on that. Oh, this conversation gave me a headache. Okay, so we're all on the same page now. Everyone should be comfortable and open to talking about everything. Agreed? Agreed, everyone? We're all on the same page?
Well, what we also established is that sex could happen on the first date, but there's certain things that need to happen. It's not just airy-fairy, right? So, and a man can respect that.
But that's not every woman, because you can meet.
I understand, but it may be. So let's say 90% of the women wouldn't have sex on the first date. If there's an exception to her rule, I want to know it.
I wouldn't. I don't. I can't tell you what I don't have one.
No. But I'm saying, well, you did. I laid out something, and you said, if there was a commitment, right? And like I said, some other woman may say, well, I will have sex if you spend $500. Now, she may not say that, but
Right. But
each woman's going to have her criteria, right? If you meet this, okay, and if all that happened, if you felt that comfortable with me, like so now we're just gonna have a great time. Now, and I may be motivated to make all those things happen, which is gonna be fulfilling for her. She's gonna get what she wants.
Okay.
Correct?
Correct.
I'm now motivated to deliver what she needs.
Okay.
Why wouldn't a woman want that on a first date?
Why wouldn't you? I'm confused. What do you mean? Why wouldn't a woman want that?
Why wouldn't a woman want a man to be motivated to deliver what she needs from him?
Women do want men to be motivated.
Right, and so talking about expectations and all that stuff that becomes part of a mature conversation, because I'm willing to bet most people don't have a real conversation about expectations, and that's where it falls apart.
Yes, a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have open and honest conversations.
Right, exactly.
That's what I've been saying from the very beginning. A lot of people have a difficult time being open and honest in the very beginning. They feel weirded out. They feel uncomfortable. There's many reasons why that is, but they do. They feel uncomfortable having open and honest conversations from the very beginning when they really actually should.
So then you understand this whole conversation has been about that.
No, I understand. No, I understand it now. Because you didn't ask that question until after we went through our little scenario.
Watch the whole thing and you'll see that.
Yes, I know. And it doesn't matter, because every time you said, you would come back with why are women uncomfortable talking about sex? And I would give you the answer to that specific question, not realizing you wanted me to go deeper. I told you from the beginning, I don't do that. If you're going to give me a surface level question, I'm going to stay there and answer that question.
But it's never a surface level question.
Okay, well, yes, it was. Because if you ask, why are women uncomfortable about talking about sex? I'm going to tell you, because I'm going to give you the reasons as to why they're uncomfortable. You didn't even, and then if you ask, well, should this be talked about on the first date? Yes. But why isn't it talked about on the first date? Because women are uncomfortable talking about it on the first date. It's like you don't accept the fact that what I am saying is plausibly truthful, because you just want to get to the point of this should be talked about. Well, yeah, we can agree that this should be talked about. Now what? Are we going to talk about it?
Most people are uncomfortable talking about things, not because they are uncomfortable. It's because they've been conditioned socially to be uncomfortable.
They're still uncomfortable.
No, but it's not natural to be uncomfortable.
I don't care. They're still uncomfortable.
Okay, so it's unnatural.
Okay. But yet they're still uncomfortable.
Right. So so why can't men know how to get rid of those illusions of discomfort?
People are going to have to be open.
Why can't men know how to get rid of the illusion of discomfort?
What do you mean, why can't men know how? Who said they can't?
Well, now they know.
Well, now they know. Men, it's okay to be open and have such discussions. Ladies, too. Be open. You're going out with somebody on a date. This is why I tell everyone, date with intention. If you are just trying to hook up and have sex, meet only those people who are trying to hook up and have sex. But if you are, and for fellas, if you are taking a woman on a date with the purpose of her believing that there could be something more coming out of this, then you are already lost, because you're not being honest from the get-go. So only deal with women you want to have sex with. But if she's of the mind that something more can happen, and you're of the mind that something more can happen, but y'all need to go on a date and be around each other to figure that out, then have those conversations. We're all grown. Have them.
S. Hanley, thanks for joining. And we're talking about sex, but here's where I think, and you said this in the beginning, if a man brings up sex, it means that that's all he wants from you. And I think women need to do something about that conversation and belief, because it makes it difficult for a man to be open if he's going to be prejudged for wanting to talk about things. And I get it. If a woman asks about money, she could be seen as a gold digger. So what I'm saying is people generally don't invest. People do not get to know one another. What people do is project onto the person some presupposition that if a man asks about sex, it means that's all he wants. Men only want one thing, and none of those things are factual. And that is the women have these walls up that have no reason to exist. And it makes it hard for her to get to know a man. And she thinks he's there to control and subjugate her, when in fact he really does want to get to know her.
So how do you suppose that women change this mindset?
Well, we're doing something right here. If we pretend that it's not an indoctrinated belief that's been imposed on you, then you'll think it's natural, but it really isn't.
So do you think women are just going to start being open, and then what? Then what? I mean, because men are the leaders. You're telling women to be open, but men are the leaders, and men are supposed to lead in these situations.
Right.
So he's supposed to lead, and a woman is supposed to follow. So therefore, his leadership will involve him being open and honest and putting the cards on the table, right? And then she's going to tell him, well, just like what you did. You said, look, I want to, I'm enjoying you and I find you sexually attractive. I want to have sex with you, but I know it's not going to happen right now. But what can I do if I, to make that happen? Well, what would you need from me? Right.
Right.
And I said commitment. Right. What if I would have said marriage?
Then I need to know that, right?
Okay, commitment or marriage, right? And yes, you need
Right.
to know that. I wonder how many men, well, let me ask the ladies, would y'all be comfortable if a guy approached you in that manner and said, I want to have sex with you? What do you need from me in order for that to happen? Would you first get offended? And how would you respond to that? Because yes, our first defense is gonna be like, what? Oh my gosh, you're trying to play me like I'm a hoe. Because we're taught that only men approach hoes like that.
And now she's not getting to know me. She's not now. It's like I disappeared. I'm no longer me, and I'm Ted Santos. How could that happen?
So we need to be able to tear down. See, someone said if it sounds like prostitution.
I understand. I understand. We've grown up with the belief that a woman dictates when and if we're going to have sex, as opposed to being two consenting adults who come together and understand how this is going to happen and what under what conditions. Like what do we need to do to move forward? Because if it's never going to happen, or if it's not going to happen until marriage, at least I know that, right? So now I have to look at you for how I'm qualifying you, not for sex, for marriage. I have to look at all these other compatibility levers, and I need to know they are there.
Okay.
So Kristen Lynn said, I'd be turned off at first if he's that forward, but I'd be open to the conversation during the first date. Right. And so the turnoff is only because of our social indoctrination. We've been taught that that's supposed to be an automatic turnoff. Like we have so many rules about what people can do. We basically put people in straitjackets. And then you tell people, well, just be yourself. How can I, is what Sam was trying to say. How can I be on a date with you if I can't be myself? Like what's the point?
Well, women feel the same way. How can we can't be ourselves either? Because
that's why you open the door to talk about something that's mutually important, sex. And if we can't have a open, honest conversation about sex and you're turned off by it, then maybe you're turned off even during sex. Maybe you hate sex. And I want to know that.
Yes, just like I want to know if you're going to marry me.
Yeah, I got that.
I want to know if you're going to marry me and give me babies and take care of me and them babies you're going to give me. I
Yep.
want 4.
Oh, I was thinking 10.
Oh, no. What, you trying to open up the United Nations coalition or something?
Yeah.
G10 summit?
Well, 11 will get you a football, almost get you half of a football team.
And I want a debate team.
18. Okay.
Yes, I want to create the great debaters. Oh my gosh.
Well, it was, see, Rashid, see, that's why we're having this conversation. People are so stuck, and it's why they actually never get to know one another, because they're imposing on the other person all this stuff they've been told about men and women, and there's no space for a person to be themselves. So there's a judgment, and I personally know people who had sex on the first date, married, children, 30, 40 years later, still together and still in good relationships. So that happens. But this happens with people who have spent time getting to know themselves and actually being able to see it, recognize it in the other person, that this is the right person for me.
But those people, whew, pardon me because I'm getting tired. Those people are the exception. They're not the rule, because for the most part, when people have sex on the first night, it tends to be a one-night stand, and nothing comes of that. Nothing comes of that situation. Or they could have been building up to the sex part, have sex on that first date, and then it's over with. So
Right. And it could have been you had 3 weeks of phone conversations, right? And the connection was so good. And on the first date, it may not have been planned. And a guy could say, we've been talking for 3 weeks. I feel like I've known you for a long time. We've talked about so many different things. And if sex happens, it does. But I think women. So no matter how you slice this, just from a neuroscience perspective, women worry way more than men.
yeah, of course. I mean, yes. Also, because we're also being told that men do have this expectation of sex on the first date. I've heard that said time and time again, that if I'm taking you out, yes, I expect sex. It's uncomfortable to know that you're expecting sex and I'm not ready yet, because now I'm feeling like the pressure. Now I'm feeling just like men feel pressure about marriage. Women feel pressure about sex. If I'm not ready to take it there. I don't want to talk about it, because now I'm feeling like I have to make it happen because you're telling me you're ready. You want it.
So here's the question. So this is about maturity. Why aren't women mature enough to say, hey, I do want to go out with you, and I'm just, to be honest, I'm sexually attracted to you. I like you. I'm not ready for sex. If we're going to go out so we've been talking, and if this is a continuation of the great conversations we had, I'm ready for that. But if the only way you want to take me out is we're going to have sex, I don't know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm just, from where I am now, I'm not ready for sex yet. And I want to keep getting to know you. Okay. Why can't that? Then that takes the pressure off. Now the guy says, hey, I feel the same way. Or then let's make it another time. Let's just keep talking.
That's fine and all, but I'm replaying back to a certain show that I'm watching.
Oh, don't give me Hollywood.
I'm not giving any names. Plus, let's not forget that in Straight Talk, I can throw that name out there. In Straight Talk, that there's this expectation that have men want sex on the first date. They don't want to hear that you're not ready.
I understand. I understand see, if you go out with a guy who's demanding sex on the first date and you're not ready for that, that's just not going to work. That's why I said in the beginning of this 3 hours ago, I said, I never want to force sex, right? Sex is important to me and I like when it's good. So if you force it and I have to convince you and here's why you should. And it's like,
because then you're disqualifying me because I'm not ready to have sex in that moment.
right.
So, but I know that I have a lot to offer. I have some great qualities. And I'm like, why can't you just get to know me on what I have to offer besides sex? I'm not ready to have sex right now.
Well, see, that's a great conversation to have. See, look, this is what I'm talking about.
And right, but then it's like men reject that. So it's like women built this ideal up in their head that I can convince you to be with me because I have all these qualities, because you say this is what you're looking for. Sex can come later. So it's not something that needs to be discussed right now, because if I tell you I'm not ready to have sex, I could possibly lose you.
Well, so look, this is Rashid said something important. It's the woman's responsibility then. She has to say that she isn't seeing anyone else too and waiting for you. If she's dating around, then she might be having sex with someone else. So you reject.
Men don't believe that.
No, listen.
For the most part, I get what he's saying. But for the most part, how many times have men have said, if a woman says she's only with this man, it's you add these many bodies. And if she's telling you she's not having sex with anyone, she's lying. So what's the point of saying it if you
No, but that's a defeatist mindset. So look, if you say to a guy, I'm sexually attracted, I'm just not ready yet, and I'm not seeing anyone else, I'm willing to wait for, and so that opens up see, this is what I'm getting at. Why aren't we having those kinds of conversations?
Okay. Because when we do have those kinds of conversations, I can just have those random conversations with men in these social media groups.
Are you dating those men?
No, I'm not dating those men. I'm not. But it does, because they're going to be more open and honest with me, a woman that they're not dating, than they are with a woman. They don't want to have those. From what I've seen, is that they don't want to know that she doesn't want to have sex with them on a first date when they want to. Now, the men who say, I don't have to have sex on the first date, I'm fine as long as what Rashid said, as long as I know she's not sleeping with anyone else. I'm talking about the ones who, for the most part, they expect sex on the first date and they want it to happen.
I got that.
So how do you deal with that?
That guy may not be qualified for you, right? But if he's just looking for a hookup and you want something else, isn't it better for you to get rid of that person and make space for the right person?
But these aren't men. These are men who are saying that they don't want hookups. They do want relationships. However, they need to have sex to determine if they want to be with a woman.
I understand that.
So
see everything you're saying. Those are conversations to have. Wouldn't you rather know, hey, I want to have sex with you to see if I want to see you anymore, right? So that may be a man's way of approaching. That guy may not be a match for you, right?
Right. I'm not saying
instead of being under pressure, why aren't we just having the conversations?
Right. But I'm telling you why women are. There's trepidation on a woman's.
I understand what see what's going on, Hanoi.
So what women have to understand is that even though you know that you think he may be right for you, if he cannot have that conversation with you and say and respect the fact that you're not interested in having sex on that night, although it's going to happen, and if he can't respect that, no matter how much you like him, you're going to have to let him go because you're not compatible. Because that's what it boils down to for a lot of women. They like the guy and they don't want to push him away. They don't want to lose him, because we know that men are expecting sex. So if we don't talk about sex, then we have a shot of winning him over with other attributes, with other qualities. But if he's just dead set, focused on discussing sex and having sex that night, then, or very soon, because I've heard some men say after the third date, then that's telling you that you're not compatible, and that even if you give in, you're gonna have issues down the line because you did something when you wasn't ready.
See, you're catching on to what I'm saying now. You know what you deserve for that.
You deserve to be popped,
You're making me work for this.
and you like to. You like it. That's why you're still spending all this time with me. You like it.
See, do you all now see the importance of being able to talk about sex openly?
Why didn't you frame
This is
it?
about.
Yeah.
So sex on the first date. This is really
Okay.
Is sex on the first date too soon, right? So I got that. That could be a little provocative. Except for sex to happen on a first date, some things would have to happen, right? That's just the way it is, right? And unless this is two like people like I just need to get off. I don't care what your name is, like that kind of thing, right? But if this is a date, like you said, if it's not a hookup, if it's a date, these are two people who've invested some time in one another, right? It's a date. So if sex is going to happen on a first date or the second or the fifth date, there needs to be an invested amount of effective, mature communication. And I'm asserting that is missing in a lot of cases.
I'm just curious as to if this discussion comes up, and I'm just curious as to how many men are willing to ask a woman, tell a woman, yes, I want to have sex with you. And what do I have to do to get to that point? Because this is not about this. I'm not dating you so that I could be in a sexless relationship or a sexless marriage. So I need to know that sex is going to happen, that you're not stringing me along and playing games. So what do I have to do to get to that point? I wonder how many men are going to be able to have that conversation, be willing to say that. Because it is about, just because you want sex, it's not necessarily mean she's going to want it. So it is about y'all getting on this.
Never want it. She may never want it with him.
Or you trying to figure out, because there are women who go on these dinner dates. They go out with men just to get a free meal or just so they're not alone or have a good time or whatever. So yes, you should be fighting this out with a woman. You know what? Thinking about it, I'm like, I would have never advised the client to ask this question on the first date. But I think for my marriage-minded clients, that question definitely needs to be asked. Like, these questions definitely need to be asked, because but people have so much trepidation and fear. They're not going to want to ask these questions.
But see, that's the bigger point is we kill off maturity for our own comfort, which then stifles our so the less things you can talk about, the less mature you generally are. Someone who can actually discuss anything and everything and be able to do it in a respectful manner is usually seen as a mature person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people who can only talk about a few things because their environment taught them those things, that's usually someone who's more small-minded and less mature, right? So okay. What these two people are doing on the first date is building their own mutual maturity between one another.
Right. So I'm looking at an answer. Rashid said, you never negotiate desire. I don't ask that question. You read body language and her actions, no dinner dates until you did it. And the men are in agreement. So they don't
understand. I understand. I understand. And you can read body language, but see, people are just not having. Why are people afraid to talk about sex?
Why are people afraid to talk about anything on the first date? It goes beyond sex, because if you can talk about just about anything on the first date, then you're going to be comfortable to talk about sex. So it goes beyond sex. And because people don't want to talk about a lot of things, they're not going to be able to talk about sex.
Well, and sex is one of the most important parts of a relationship. It's a major reason for divorce.
Men don't want to talk about it, but they want it. Women don't want to talk about it, but they know that they got to give it. to get what they want. They know they got to give it, but no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to. People, hold on, but people will talk about freaky positions at some point. Like some people will be very open and honest and discussing stuff at the barbershop or amongst their friends. But that when it comes to the person that you're going to give your
Exactly.
body,
Exactly.
you can't talk about sex to the person you give your body to.
Exactly. Well, people will talk about it on a surface level.
Yeah.
Like, and over, I'm freaky and I do everything, but that's not really talking about sex.
Right. That's not, talk about how much you like it or whether or not, talking about how when you can get women to do whatever you want. That's not telling other people that means absolutely nothing. Even you tell a woman, oh, I can get women all the time and do whatever I want. Women too. But if you cannot become intimate with the person that you are going to possibly build something with, then.
Well, see, you said something important in the beginning. You said people have walls up. Women worry more than men. So women have more walls up and they have thicker walls, right? If a woman sees that she can have an intimate conversation with a guy on a first date without being judged, those walls come down a lot faster.
Yes, they do. They do.
So that's what this is about. And I understand that it's counterintuitive and it's counter society, it's counter so many things, and it goes against what we've been taught. And I think part of the problem, and this is what I was saying earlier, people create dysfunctional relationships because they look for the dopamine high. If I chase you, I get a dopamine high. And the woman, if I'm being pursued, you really want me, she's getting a dopamine high. Here's what that cat and mouse game creates. No one talks about anything. It's just the chase that you really want me and I really want you. Mm-hmm. So when they come together, they're no longer, now they've had sex, so they're not getting that dopamine rush from the cat and mouse game. Now, you know what that means they have to do?
What?
They have to argue, break up, and do the cat and mouse all over again.
That's true.
And so then they come back together and the dopamine thing, they have to break up again and do the cat and mouse all over again. That cycle is dangerous. And that's what a lot of people go into that. It's how they kill this makeup and have breakup sex and all this insanity. And if you are a good lover, you know how to make things work.
Well, I mean, people, it's weird how people feel like they have to they need all this extra to get that spark into the relationship.
Right, exactly.
People do it with sex. People do it with sex toys and all these different porn star like sex antics. If people forget that connection, that human connection between the two is what's important. That is that intimacy between true intimacy, not nasty, freaky stuff and all that other stuff. I'm talking about true intimacy when it's just you and the other person, and that's all you need. That's true intimacy. When you can get to that level, there's no limit, but you have to be able to be open from the very beginning in order to get to that level. People think that they can wait 5 years.
Right.
Or
take 90 days. It takes 90 days to get to that.
No, you can get to that level from the very beginning.
The first date.
The first date. You can actually get to that level from the first conversation if you're talking over the phone. But people are resistant. Why? Because throughout our society, we're taught that people want to are going to use whatever we're saying against us, and they're going to use it to try to manipulate or abuse us or control us in some way. Men have these beliefs and women have these beliefs. So in order for true intimacy to build, you have to start being open from the beginning.
Hey, Nias, thanks for checking in.
I think the show is winding down now because we're.
Yeah, no. All right. So you finally got it. Thank you.
No, don't frame it like that because you didn't ask me like that from the very beginning.
I had to connect dots for you.
No. My Capricorn brain doesn't work like that.
I know. I had to connect all the dots. I'm
You
sorry.
didn't have to. You chose to do it that way. You chose to go. See, you did the 5-year route by going all around instead of doing the first date thing. You should have first dated me. Should have first dated me, and then but then the show would have been over an hour ago, 2 hours, 3 hours ago. So I guess it was good.
Exactly. I had to strip down everything on you.
You didn't strip
I had
nothing
to strip
down.
you. I had to strip you down in front of everyone.
Okay.
Did you all like how I stripped her down?
Oh my goodness. You really did not strip me down because I already have an understanding that people should be having these conversations. I never said they didn't. I never said they
You
shouldn't.
said you were uncomfortable.
I said I was uncomfortable, yes, but I didn't say that it shouldn't be had. I just
Good.
said I
And
don't
that-
like
and
having
if a man is going to lead, he's going to lead
Yes.
some uncomfortable
Yeah.
conversations. We're
now
talking about
I'm
sex.
expecting my nice fat diamond ring.
If a man is going, you lead the conversation. You don't let the woman lead you.
Right. So Ted Santos said he would marry me if he could have sex with me. But okay.
So
There you go. I don't think the audience really got it, but hey, I mean, at least the message is out there. You have to discuss these things and be open from the very beginning. Be open. Be honest.
yeah, you filter out fakers. Yeah, that's why you have these intimate conversations, and people who cannot go with that may not be what you want, or they may just be right for what you need at that moment, and you accept it.
That's right. So if you talk to a girl and say, you know what, I don't want anything commitment. You know, I'm not looking for anything serious, but I want to have sex with you. I'm not gonna lie. She may say, you know what, I'm not looking for anything either. I just want to have sex too. But you know, I do. I was looking at that YSL bag in the mall. Can you get me that?
See, with that, she just told you what she needs from you,
Right.
and you decide, do I want that?
And then you decide, and then if you like, man, I'm not no trick. Well, that's some simping BS. You move on to the next, or you determine whether or not it might be worth it. So
Or you say to her, do you want that thing in a window, or you want your back blown out? Which one is most important?
I want that bag, the red one.
Okay, well, there's another. So another guy gets that bag for you, and you come to me when you're ready to get down. You just call me. I won't be waiting for you, but you just call me.
Nah, cause you know, like Emil said, my coochie remains in the Gucci name. So that's what's gonna take for me to get wet for you.
Got it.
Man. It's for him.
Waiter, separate checks, please.
Wait, hold on. You asked me out.
Separate checks, please.
So you asked me out.
I'll take mine to go. We're done here.
You know what? I'm out right now because you asked me out. I'm not paying for this, so it was great time.
I'm gonna have hers to go either.
Yes. You can have mine. I'm sorry that this didn't work out between us, but you have a nice time.
No, I'm not sorry. I'm glad I got to know. Did that in 10 minutes.
Yes, we didn't waste each other's time, so there's no.
Matter of fact, no. What you ordered is for someone else. I'm gonna have someone else come here. See, hurry up and get out before.
That's great because now I can go and move on to the guy who's going to buy me the YSL bag that I want.
All right. Lady, you gotta go.
Bye. See, everybody, that's how that happens.
All right. We've been doing this for a long time today. Didn't expect it. I never expected to go this long. And when I do 2 hours, everyone says that's too short. So
I don't think we ever did less than 3 hours when we do a show.
Oh, I did it 2 hour. Oh, for
you and I don't think we ever go less than 3 hours.
Okay, so you need at least 3 hours, huh?
No, that's not what I need. I need that YSL bag.
All right.
Actually, no, I need the YSL shoes to match the YSL bag that I bought yesterday.
All those things are just 3 hours. They're all 3 hours away from you. Don't worry.
Actually, no, the mall is only 30 minutes from me. So
Telling you, it's gonna take 3 hours to get there. 3 hours and 30 minutes.
that's what it's gonna take. All
3
right.
hours and 30 minutes. To
Woo,
get
let me do some sit-ups, some crunches, let me do some squats, get some energy. Gotta work, let me stretch. Let me stretch for them
No,
3 hours.
I got the stretching going. I'm gonna do that. Don't worry.
Oh, I gotta stretch too, because I gotta work for that bag. I already know that. I gotta put in some work. I gotta make it work. So, let me stretch. Let me stretch.
Let me start up the jackhammer. So exactly, Rashid, right. You don't want to buy it and then someone else. She's gonna come to me after you buy the bag, Rashid. Exactly.
Okay. That doesn't matter. But the fact is, this is a nice little scenario where people can understand it's okay to have these conversations, and men need to stop shaming women. If a woman wants something tangible from you in order to have sex, there's no need to shame her. You just simply tell her, okay, yeah, I'm not about that life. That's not me. And then she'll simply tell you, well, I'm not about that life either. So we're not compatible. We're not on the same page. Deuces, right? That's how that's going to go. There's no need for this shaming language. Women shouldn't shame men because he's not going to pay for sex. If a man doesn't want to pay for sex, you tell him, well, yeah, I need this YSL bag, or I need that Birkin is the new thing, I guess. He says, no, there's no need to say, oh, you broke. No, he's not broke. He just doesn't want to spend $40,000 on you. Your vagina is not worth it when he can go and get it for maybe $2,000 by buying a YSL bag. But no, so negotiate. But this is when negotiate. If you're marriage minded, it tends to go much better. If you're marriage minded, negotiations should definitely happen. I don't know why men think that y'all all can blow out somebody's back. I mean, y'all are just so conceited. Like, who these women is gassing y'all heads up? Like, y'all just out here blowing out backs. Okay. If your tires ain't getting cut, your clothes haven't been put on fire, she hasn't stalked you, she hasn't been standing in the bushes, putting spy software on your phone, you're not blowing out backs. I'm playing. Don't mind me. No, I'm serious. No,
you missed a couple of scenarios, but I won't put those out there.
Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. Oh, okay, Teddy. You've been stopped. All righty now.
You missed a few scenarios, but anyway.
Oh, okay. You've been stopped.
So we had some great traffic on Instagram, and you guys in YouTube, man, always love your comments. You all come to life. You bring these topics to life, and you ask some good questions and give some great scenarios. And some of you even want to beat me up every once in a while, but that's all right. Bring it on. Let's do it.
I think they beat me up more than they beat you up. I don't even think you got beat up. I got a few punches.
Oh no, what's her name? That woman who, I think it was a woman who said something about me.
Oh,
she said I was immature, and I was
okay
about maturity. So because I was being like so masculine, and I was, doing that.
No, you were just saying how you're immature and everybody else isn't. That's like saying
I never said I was mature. I never said that. I never once said I was mature. I never say those things. I never say anything about what I am. If you listen closely, you don't hear me say that.
The implication of it all.
Oh, wow, boy. Wow, look at that.
Ted don't have to blow nothing out. He's got good eye candy. Just get the oil or strawberries and chocolate.
Oil.
Wow. Like fruit.
Thank you for that, Crystal. What she said earlier, a few minutes ago, she said I was giving her a headache. So wow. So
Ted doesn't like fruit. No, I'm just teasing. I don't know what it's like.
And Rashid said you just proved the point, which is the point that I think a few guys have been saying.
What?
That was the whole point. That what she just said.
Oh, that what? Your eye candy?
I don't have to blow anything out. Right. He said, be good looking enough and you don't need to pay.
Okay. You think you're just gonna blow my back out and not give me a YSL bag?
Jackhammer. Anyway, all right.
Okay, but that's the thing. Good. Okay, so but that's another factor we didn't talk on. We didn't hit on that though. Attractive people. See, I don't like talking about attractive and non-attractive people because attractive people are not the majority of the population, especially relatively unless you're in an area that is concentrated of attractive people, like California or Atlanta.
New York has lots of them.
I heard differently.
No, there are a lot of attractive.
I heard.
I don't care.
But when it comes to the concentration, like Atlanta and California, I heard differently. But okay, so you say no, New York. Okay, but that's 3 areas out of the entire 50 states. That's the United States, 50 states. So that's only 3. So I don't really like talking about the attractive factor, but people who are attractive don't have to work hard. They don't have to do anything. They generally, if a man is attractive, women are going to flock to him whether he's got money or not.
Kristen said I have to take my shirt off.
Oh, you got to just go on his Facebook page. He's got a video up where he's teasing us.
Mm-hmm.
I told him next time he's got to take it all the way off.
Mm.
And then attractive women, I mean, it's nothing for a guy who sees an attractive woman, a guy with resources to see an attractive woman. He understands that there's competition for her. So he knows how to play that game. So if she wants a bag for him to sleep with her, he's going to get the bag or he's going to move on. But that's what she's used to. So attractive people are different. I don't really like talking about attractiveness because that's not the majority of the population, but that is a fact.
Okay, good enough. So we're at 3 hours and 31. You just gave your last words. And my last words are don't be afraid to talk. And a woman who is more open to talk about sex is most likely, there's a good chance she's going to be more open to having pleasurable sexual experiences with you. So people who are closed-minded can do a lot of things to overcompensate, and you may not get fulfillment. Like a lot of guys know, just because you climax doesn't mean you're sexually fulfilled. And I think a lot of women don't fully comprehend that. So never be afraid to talk. And if women expect you to lead, that's exactly what you're doing, damn it. And if you have to throw her over your shoulder and carry her to your cave and be a caveman, they'll like it. In the end, they'll love it.
You're not throwing me over any shoulders. I'm just letting you.
I already have. So
I don't know. I might be too heavy for you.
Now I'm going to carry you to the cave. So we have to go, everyone.
I may have too much weight for you to carry. That's going to be an uncomfortable position.
We're going to go play in the garden. We're going to go play in the garden. You see the garden dress that she's wearing. So time to go to the secret garden. That's what this show is really about, playing in the garden.
And that's what men want. They want to play in a woman's secret garden. And y'all just want easy access. And
we are doing YouTube and on YouTube and Chill. That's what we talk about, the most intimate parts of a relationship. Even if it gets heated and controversial, this is the YouTube and Chill Friday. You need to be part of it. Get all your friends and family to join here. If you haven't liked this video, do it. Share it. If you haven't seen me on Patreon, man, I've got a bunch of stuff on Patreon you've never seen before. So come join me. Check me out on Patreon. I'll probably leave this one up here. Share this video. Like it. Always appreciate your support. My Cash App and PayPal is here. Thank you, everyone on Instagram. Thank you, everyone on YouTube. I'll see you next Friday with another very intimate conversation. Thanks, Rashid. Another very interesting, controversial. Even if it doesn't make common sense, we're going to open it up and we're going to dive in there.
You're going to deflower me again? Each and every time, huh?
We're going to play in the garden. So have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.